The field is set and we are ready to go. Another 3 hours of practice here at the Circuit de la Sarthe for the 92nd running of the 2024 24 Hours of Le Mans. Welcome to a bitter day because it's now decided who starts 8 down and then who is going to start upwards on the fact of 8 plus. 8 cars from each category now ready to go on. We need to make that intro a bit longer, don't we? Each car now set, top 8 from each class. We'll go through to Hyperpole, a 1 hour session later on. And then we're all ready to go for the big one. Because Hyperpole later will be giving us pole positions in the Hypercar, LMP2 and the GT3 classes. This is another 3 hour session for everyone to get going and get ready. Is it me or is that background audio worse than yesterday as well with the commentators? It's going to be different though when it comes to Saturday. I'm delighted to say that. We're not going to have the constant back of the world feed because Eurosport know how to separate their commentary. All set then to go. I didn't do this, but the production team did because we woke up this morning and we found out that we're on 4,999 subscribers. So they've put the tally count at the top of the screen because they want to capture when that goes to 5,000 subscribers. So the production team put that there and I came into the box about half an hour ago and noticed it was there. It hasn't changed all morning. So it was last night it was at 4,994 and then we woke up it was at 4,999. So the production team put it there and I came into the box half an hour later because people run this on Team Viewer behind, talking our ears and all that lot. So yeah. So, yeah, that's just there to counter the reaction as well as they come through. As we've all got ready to go. Discord is online. We've just been told free practice 3 will start in 2 minutes' time. Cars are now allowed into that fast lane. So, finally, we can get going. We're going to have Radio Le Mans as well in the background during the commercial breaks and the TV pictures that we've got. Tom Dillon's going to be stepping into the box. Megan Birch is going to be here as well. And then later on, we're going to have JT as well coming in. Hopefully some Omi as well. And we'll see where Jess ends up as well. But the pit lane ready to go. We're around about 40 seconds until the green light goes on. So we will be handing over to Eduardo Freitas to give us the green light and we'll be underway. Driver tracker ready, stats ready, and don't worry about the hypercar stats. They're all going to bunch up, as you know, when the session gets started. It's always a difference when they complete their lap times to when we actually go green. Here's Eduardo Freitas.
So half a minute to go and counting before the green lights go on at the end of the pit lane. The instruction will be given from race control to release the cars. Everybody wants to be first out and get into clear track space. Number 15 BMW then, one of the 2 WRT run entries.
Yep, so here we go. We're getting to that 10-second margin and Eduardo Freitas will give us the countdown as well to get to it.
Then put it in the barriers at Indianapolis and did quite a bit of damage to the front in free practice 2 last night.
No countdown from Eduardo Freitas. That's unusual for the production. Green light and free practice 3 is underway then here for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Quite surprised that there wasn't any light coming on of anything from the race control there. We just go straight into the session, but we'll have it to go through. Listening to the second best motorsport commentator off Korean channel. What a Thursday this is. Brad, I'm offended. Nah, Karun's brilliant. I love Karun as well. He's a good friend and he's a good broadcaster as well. His technical knowledge is one of the best as well. So, hi Brad, nice to see you. And yeah, Karun, I love Karun. Hopefully we can get him into the commentary box one day as well, but he does quite a lot with Sky so, and with Formula E as well. So maybe we can try and tempt him somewhere along the line to come in for a commentary. But the green light is on, we're underway. Constantly being told to keep looking at the screen in my ear at that subscriber count, which is annoyingly funny as they all come through. So just a reminder how today's going to play out. Another 3 hour, you know Karun? Yeah, I know Karun, yeah. You're surprised I do? When I say I know people in Formula 1 and media, I really do. I know a lot of people, and yes, I do know Karun, to come into it as well. Did a karting, was going to do a karting thing with him, his karting championship a couple of years ago, but unfortunately, one of our team members for his karting event had an accident, a car accident, and was not well. So we had to pull out, but we still made a donation to go through. Do you go to the pub with him? No, I do not go. We live in completely opposite ends of the UK.
Hugely complicated race cars.
But I do have contacts in motorsport. Of course I do. I don't just stand here in the commentary box in the garage doing one thing. No, I get out there and I meet people. I say hello. I put things forward, and I know people. Quentin's helped a couple of times over the years, actually, with some stat notes. I have his email address. I've got Mark Blundell's phone number as well. SHT says, hey Josh, this 2024 MotoGP Riders Market season just got even crazier. I must admit, woke up and did not expect to see Maverick Vinales signing for the Red Bull. He signed A for Red Bull, and B, he signed for the Gas team, the Red Bull Gas team. That was a surprise to me. Bashing Vinales on the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 Gas Racing, as you say, SHT. Yeah, that is going to be a very interesting couple of sessions, isn't it? I don't know whether to be excited or to be a bit worried, to be fair. It's going to be exciting on my book. I will definitely 110% be watching what we have to come through. KTM are very stacked lineups right now. I've said it before, we're in for one of the best years ever in MotoGP in 2025. So honestly, everybody, you deserve to be right there watching it. And the way to do that is hit the subscribe and notification bell. So cars just venturing out there for the first outlaps coming through. Can you do a live stream knocking on Karun's house? That would be awesome. I don't know where Karun lives. Does he have a gated mansion? No, I don't know. I don't know where Karun lives, the same way that Karun doesn't know where I live. It's not that type of it's a professional working relationship as well. It's a mutual respect of being media. Him, of course, a driver. For God's sake, on that basis, one thing that I've always said to Megan about it all as well, actually, is Fernando Alonso recognised me. We were doing a live stream at Silverstone on World Endurance Championship in 2018, and he was going in for his stint. I was going past the Toyota garage, as we hear from the number 11 team.
The wind is pushing a bit in the main straight. Start-finish line straight, sorry.
So yeah, tailwind.
So tailwind's coming in as we hear Anthony say. But yeah, in between the two Toyota trucks that year in 2018, he was going one way, I was going the other, and it's a very narrow gap, about the width of the camera lens actually. So you go down and sort of shuffling by as well with his helmet, me with the microphone. Car 777 has been given a 5-minute stop-go penalty for an unsafe release in free practice 2. So the 777 car is going to be held in there. That's down the GT3 category for the Station Racing with Sato Hiroshini as well at the wheel, the Aston Martin Vantage car going through. But yeah, so Alonso recognised me and said thank you, moving out of the way, smiling as well. He's going into his car. And then I'm in Barcelona 6 months later for Formula One, their test session. Alonso is the third driver at McLaren at that point, and he's walking down to go to FOM and Codemasters for their laser scans and everything as well. And he's got his fire suit in one hand, his helmet in the other, and he's walking down the paddock area, just on the top floor of Barcelona on the balcony section. I'm walking down the other way to go down to the pit lane with microphone equipment and everything hooked up. And he looks at me and goes, oh, hi, and smiles and waves and all that lot. And it's like, Fernando Alonso knows who I am. So that was definitely up there. I make Megan jealous about that every single time I can. And there we have it. I was just told on my ears, there we have it. 5,000 subscribers to the JB Motorsports channel as well, live on air. Whoever was the 5,000 subscriber, thank you very much. And the whole JB Motorsports team are now going nuts in my ear. I can hear the production team celebrating as well in the voiceover. So thank you very much to every single person. 5,000 subscribers on the JB Motorsports channel. That was absolutely fantastic. It was me, says Brad. Brad, you weren't a subscriber already? Come on, man. Thank you, Brad. If I need someone, I want to know where they live. I was with John Cena last week, but I couldn't see him. Rafael Marcello.
Okay. Just so you know, this is distance dependency for the braking. It will help rear locking in Dunlop and S's.
So what that means is
Okay. I wonder what that was all about there, to be fair. So Raffaele Marcello having a few issues out there on the circuit. And that BMW, lovely BMW as well, I might point out. It's quite nice to get to 5K. Josh, can you start streaming WWE? I absolutely cannot. WWE is one of the ones. To be fair, I'd leave WWE to another member of my family, to be fair, who, interestingly enough, got himself quite popular with banners that he had there. Then bought the football club, and then did not go well. So, yeah, I can't really do that. WWE Clash at the Castle to Le Mans. That would be something. Absolutely would not. I wouldn't know where to start with WWE. I get nervous I've got to do the football soon on USON. Better with the tennis, though. On board with Hasberg as well, in the Alpine team, the number 35 car. So we've got the first times coming in now, finally starting to flow up on the monitor here as well. So we've got the BMW number 15 with the Raffaele Marcello at the wheel. He has done a 331.126. Here comes the Alpine across the line now. And Alpine jump up to first, 330.764. So the time's still fluctuating a little. I'm not expecting too many changes in this opening session because obviously everyone is going to wait for Hyperpole to really start pushing like crazy and give us the excitement that we want to see. So not really going to be too much of a option. Just changing the stream quality there. As it comes into it. Yeah, just oh, I'm giving us a wave there. I didn't see who that was, actually. Didn't look back to the screen quick enough as we take a look at United Autosports in the LMP2 category. Keeping their eye in. Tell you what, the world feed for One George Championship really is annoying me as we head from the Peugeot, because you can hear it in the background of the cars.
Yeah, copy, Loic.
But
it's different when it comes to the race, because Eurosport have a different team, so you don't always hear them in the background. Yeah, it's really annoying that. Alpine top then. Top in LMP2 is the 2020 is the 22 United car as well. That's Nolan Siegel at the wheel. Now Nolan Siegel, as you just know, has started a couple of races as well at IndyCar now. He was in the Indy NXT or Indy Next, whatever you want to call it. Then he did the Indy 500 qualifying. Didn't get through. And then replaced Agustin Canapino at the last round of the championship. And then came as well at Road America. Did really well. But now Agustin Canapino has come back. So some yes, some no on that front. Who's top in the GT3s at the moment? That is the number 55 Vista AF Corsa, Simon Mann at the wheel. The Ferrari 296 LMGT3 car. And his time, I can tell you, is a... hang on, never mind, because we've got the Manthe EM80 with Maurice Schuring at the wheel, the Porsche 911 GT3R. He's done a 4 minutes .522. So everyone's still building up then in this first 10 minutes. No one's going to push hard in this session. Don't forget as well, for many people, we've already locked in the qualifying result. Hyperpole coming up soon will only have the top 8 cars that qualified from each category. So for many of the field, especially, actually, yeah, for the majority of the field, Hypercar, 9 to 23. 9 to 23 as well for LMGT3 and 8 to 16 in LMP2. It's all, you know,
we see very strong tailwind turn 2 and also entry exit turn 6.
Jose Maria Lopez, who is back in the number 7 Toyota as well, replacing this weekend and substituting for the injured Mike Conway, who had an accident on a push bike. So he's going to change over as well. Just having a look down at the FIA have announced something as well. The new Women in Motorsports membership program as well has just been announced. So we'll take a look at that. Get ready to call that on Grid Network. Later on, 50 Ferrari flashing the Inception Racing of the McLaren. As Aitken in the Cadillac jumps up to 8th place as well in the V-Line Cadillac Racing. That hypercar, of course, with V-Line Cadillac in IMSA as well, with Jack Aitken at the wheel. Let's come over to do Le Mans. The 81 Cadillac. Sorry, Corvette, I should say, coming in there in the pit lane. Corvette Racing. Not the actual factory Corvette team, of course. The 81 car over there in the pits. That is the TF Sport. Charlie Eastwood at the wheel, the Corvette Z06. And the other TF Sport 82 with Daniel Juncadella at the wheel as well. So it's all just changing over. Ferrari AF Corsa on board with number 50. Antonio Fulco at the wheel. My first man told me did justice. What's Will Buxton tweeting about? Is he there? Has he gone to Le Mans? I know Laura Winter might be there. Oh, that time Will Buxton went to Le Mans in 2021. Yes. Yeah, I was just having an assumption there. That, it's a lot of traffic down the Mulsanne straight down towards the Michelin chicane. Loads of traffic. GT3 is pulling to the right. Hypercar's trying to get through. Fred Vasseur is here. Frederick Vasseur, the team principal of Scuderia Ferrari HP in Formula 1, is here this weekend watching on. It's also nice that for a change, we don't have Formula 1 clashing. Like last year we had... I don't think we had a clash last year with Formula 1. It was MotoGP we had a clash with. The year before, though, Azerbaijan. Ooh. Don't think there's a clash next year, luckily. But once again, my emphasis will go to covering Formula 1 over Le Mans. Porsche Penske number 4 goes to the top on a 3:30.133. The number 8 Toyota. Buemi, Hartley and Harikuro as well at the wheel. And Mick Schumacher, second fastest now for Alpine, the 36 team as well. Really strong result from him there in the Alpine 8424. Might remember if you joined us at the start of the year, we launched that car because they launched it alongside the Alpine for this year's Formula 1 car. So they had a joint stream, which was really strange to watch. Driver 23, Ben Hangley, has been given a warning flag for track limits. Verne has changed to Muller in the 93 car, and has now Muller left the pit lane. The 83 car of Robert Kubica has also left in the Ferrari, the AF Corsa team, not the Ferrari team, the AF Corsa coming through. So Frank Pera as well has come into the pit lane, and Jean-Carl Vernet has left in the Hypercar 11. Neil Jani leaves as well in the 99. As they're flying down on the order. Many of the field now completing competitive lap times. But no one, as of yet, has the running order. Station Racing only had a 5-minute penalty. Why they are still staying there, I don't know. But I'm being told by... Oh, there we go. That's right, because they've gone off air. So let's hand over now, join the ad break to Radio Le Mans, because we lost TV pictures up here in the box. Oh, well, that's a good start. It's on mute. Here we go then. Here they are.
Hold, but I really think Toyota have strong form here. I'm just waiting to see it on the scoreboard.
Just going back to the point about the number 12 car being granted a shakedown at some point tomorrow evening, I was beginning to wonder where on earth that might take place, because, well, normally in years gone by, the public part of this lap has been reopened again on Friday. I believe it's now shut all the way through from Wednesday through to Sunday night and the end of the race, but there's never any scope to be able to do it on the racetrack itself. So suggestion from Paul Truswell, who we'll be hearing from later on in this session, is that they'll do it at the airport, just the other side of the main straight, the other side of the dual carriageway. So it's a good shout, and I don't think that's a first either. I'm pretty sure cars that have had to, as we hear from Jack Aitken,
we had track limits in karting.
So track limits, yes. I've noticed that there was a message on the race control feed about that. 311. Or was it, though? No, there was a track limits warning for Ben Hanley in the 23 United Autosports LMP2 car. Also, interestingly, in the 51 Ferrari 499P, James Collado's under investigation for a potential unsafe release at 2 minutes to 3, so right at the start of the session. And the treble 7 car has been smacked with a 5-minute stop-and-go penalty in this after an unsafe release was spotted in free practice 2 last night. So there are penalties being held over from previous free practice sessions that will be served during this 3 hours. Better to get those out of the way, I suppose, earlier rather than later, Bruce.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, take the slap on the wrist. You've assessed exactly where you put the car, and exactly, you know, for those who have track limits offences. But Pit lane offences as well can be, well, they're the undoing of so many a team, aren't they? It makes you sort of slightly mad if you're a team manager, all the hard work you put in, and then it gets stripped up. Just looking to LMP2, and it's United Autosports at the top, 17th overall at the moment, car number 22, young American Nolan Siegel, who's really having a fantastic run.
P1 right now is a 28.9.
Okay, sorry, that was Wayland Cadillac team getting a message to Jack Aitken. Heard him once, heard him twice, and it's the time 3 minutes 28.9, set by the number 7 Toyota, Jose Maria Lopez. Expected to be racing an LMGT3 Lexus here, but with Bike Conway having an accident on his bike, just that last extra bit of training came undone, not well enough to do, injured, can't do the race, and then, well, back has stepped the Argentinian. He's set the fastest time by only 0.2 of a second from Jack Aitken, the driver we were just hearing from in that number 311 Wayland Cadillac racing entry. But just going back to Nolan Siegel, he was one of the drivers who didn't get to take part in the test weekend, did he? Because he was competing stateside, jet lag, get that out of the way, just rock over the Atlantic and come here. But Nolan's very much a driver who sort of popped onto my radar probably only a couple of years ago, and he's really making fantastic strides. So again, it's always good to have that sort of fresh crop. He's sharing with Bijoy Garg, and how about the third driver in that car, Oliver Jarvis. Just I think about his runs at Le Mans over the years, and he just always shines here. So that's looking a very promising team. But Nolan is one of the young guns. Get this, he's only 19. So it's 20 at the end of this year in November. Shocking.
Yeah. Incredible, and also the fact that he stepped up to the main IndyCar race at the weekend. There was a seat that became available, so that was the reason why he didn't take part during test day. We had 2 3-hour sessions for that. He's normally an Indy Next driver and has had a win already this year, currently 4th in the championship, but obviously had to withdraw from Sunday's Indy Next race. I'm just looking to see how Siegel got on, actually, and it was a troubled run. I haven't watched that race yet, but didn't finish on the lead lap in the end. But nevertheless, a chance for Nolan at his tender age to be in the big show again, having taken part in the Indy 500 as well. And once more, that's the type of racer that is still being attracted to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, assuming schedules allow for it. We haven't mentioned a great deal about, well, I haven't mentioned a great deal about Jack Hawksworth, who fills the gap at Lexus. And I was interested to read Rob Leupen's comments to Sportscar 365 to say, well, it was a fairly obvious decision from Toyota's perspective to put Jose Maria Lopez into the 7 Toyota rather than Ritomo Miata. Miata's never raced at Le Mans before, doesn't have the experience with these cars, and that would be really throwing him into the deep end. At least Lopez has driven a GR010 in anger for a couple of seasons, so it's pretty obvious to hook him out of the Acodis Lexus and put him in the Toyota. But for Rob Leupen, he said the more difficult decision was then who we put in the Lexus to sort of backfill that seat. Well, Jack Hawksworth, Vassar Sullivan racer, and passed in a Lexus, the same type of car, over stateside, and the Yorkshireman, I'm sure, will just slot right in there. He's just done the fastest lap for that particular car, by the way, car number 87 with a 3:58.951, but it was a very, very last-minute call to get him into that car.
No, it really was. So even more transatlantic crossing. Right, in LMGT3, it's United Autosports on top of that part as well. Gregoire Sossi in one of their number 59 McLaren 720S, young Swiss racer. He's sharing that with James Cossingham and Nicolas Costa, all Le Mans debutants. So that's not like the experience of Jose Maria Lopez that is being tapped by the Toyota team, Toyota Gazoo Racing in the top class, the hypercar class, but going very well. And by the way, second in the LMGT3, we heard from Dinah Binks, is GR Racing with that. So Daniel Serra has hopped into the car that had all those electrical problems and shows it's working pretty well. But of course, they've got to find out what their natural pace is, whereas a lot of the other teams are working through a program because they've had clean running thus far. It's so difficult at Le Mans if you lose your time on the track.
Is
It really is, as the cars are now still circulating out here on the track as well. We've just had some news breaking about IndyCar, which I know many people here on JBMotorsports also follow. Fox have announced that they are taking exclusive content away from NBC. So all races which have been announced ahead of next season will be live on Fox Sports. Qualifying and practice sessions, as well as Indy NXT races, are going to be split across FS1 and FS2. So, yeah, hopefully that still means we get all the practice coverage for the Indy 500. Otherwise, that'll really suck not to get it as well, because we have had it for a couple of years. So, yeah, Fox have got it. And we've also got next year's calendar for IndyCar, if you wouldn't mind me reading out to you. March 2nd, Streets of St. Petersburg. March 23rd, the Thermal Club as an actual race. Yeah, that's going to go well, isn't it? April 13th, Streets of Long Beach. May 4th, the Barber Motorsports Park. May 10th, Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. May 25th takes us as well with the Indianapolis 500. June 1st, Streets of Detroit. June 15th, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Clashing with next year's Le Mans, by the way, so I won't be on that one, it looks like. June 22nd, Road America. Hey, I might actually be on that one. July 6th, Mid-Ohio. July 12th and 13th, doubleheader at Iowa Speedway. July 20th, Streets of Toronto. July 27th, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. August 10th, Portland International Raceway. August 24th, Milwaukee Mile. August 31st, Nashville Superspeedway. So once again, the season ends on a oval, but yeah, that is also a very early release to IndyCar schedule, but also means it ends in August next year. Starts in early March, finishes last day of August. Interesting. Christopher D. Hard has said, first of all, this is the earliest I can remember an IndyCar release in a long while. Secondly, July is going to be hella busy. Thirdly, not too surprised about Thermal being a points event, but I wonder if there'll be a major track changes. Finally, everything on Big Fox is huge. Yeah, it's main Fox as well for them. It's going to be madness as well coming into it. So, keeping on with the action, back to what's happening here in the practice session here at Le Mans. It's Toyota with a 328.721 fastest. That's the number 7. The 311. Oh, no, I stand corrected, because just across the line goes the number 4 Porsche Penske. 328.266, half a second faster than the number 7 Toyota. Peugeot jump up into 6th place with a 94. Loic Duval at the wheel. His last lap time was a time I can't see. Toyota Gazoo go top as well, and that's because I believe the Porsche Penske's lap time has been deleted for track limits. It has. So the Porsche's lap time, number 6, has been deleted due to exceeding track limits on the circuit. So that's why Toyota have jumped back up. The number 93 Peugeot back in the pit lane with its nose cone off. Looks like they're going to go in to put it back on after doing some setup changes to the wheels. And yep, it's going to go. Crunch zone on that is unbelievable with the rear engine, of course. The front is all aerodynamic and wing, and it's absolutely mad, the prototypes. And Hypercar still is a prototype. Lopez at the wheel, number 7, remember. Hasn't raced so much this season, so he's got to get a lot of it going through. And Liberty Media are buying Formula E. Wow! So Liberty have brought Formula 1, MotoGP, and now Formula E. Bit of a worry to have a monopoly on sports there. So, I found the latest on that. We've got news down the pits.
The keys to the race here, as ever, are to stay out of trouble, and I think part of the decision-making process with that driver lineup is to ensure that we have the experience in any given situation. So there's a lot of rookies within this field, and with the hypercar grid being as big as it is, GT3s, etc., there's going to be a lot to unfold during the race. So it's important for us just to stay out of trouble, and part of that process is choosing experienced drivers.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Gary Holland from Vector Sport, the number 10 crew that run in the LMP2 category. So their driver lineup: Ryan Cullen is the silver. Patrick Pilet's a massive find, not find, but to be able to secure his signature for this year's Le Mans and other places too. And the Platinum Racing driver with all that Porsche experience slotting into LMP2. Pilet's raced with EDEX Sport in the past, I remember, and they used to have a red and a blue car and not particularly good days leading into their Le Mans weekend. EDEC Sport, I think they did that on 2 separate occasions and managed to write cars off. But at the moment, Vector Sport, it's going to plan, and as Gary mentioned, they've also served their penalty. Stefan Riquelme is the 3rd driver. The Monegasque is the gold. You're not allowed 2 platinums in LMP2. You are allowed as a maximum platinum, gold, and then the silver. Or if you run in LMP2 Pro-Am, that silver instead has to be a bronze. There has to be a bronze as one of your 3 drivers, and therefore a subcategory within LMP2, which does produce a separate trophy as well. So the Pro-Am crews are effectively trying to beat one another, but no doubt about it, the Pro-Am crews also want to win LMP2 outright, if that is possible as well.
One thing that's a little bit different today, I talked about the Alpines at one stage being 1st and 2nd. They've moved down the order a little bit, but let's hear it for Lamborghini. They've had problems with this new car so far this year, but Andrea Caldarelli in the number 19 is 5th fastest. Yes, a lot of the teams might be working a bit, as we've just heard from Gary Holland at Vector Sport, about working on race pace and so on. But when we saw that number 19 Lamborghini right across the nose of the 50 Ferrari and not really holding it up, so it shows that Lamborghini right now are finding things. And as I say that, one dives over the curbs and the gravel going on into the pit approach, so a late cut across. But there does seem to be some gaining form from Lamborghini, which is good news for people who really enjoy that raging bull.
And that was Daniel Kvyat, who's now in the pit road, the number 19 Lamborghini. Also green is the Andrea Caldarelli SC63, and he is somewhere on the Mulsanne straight now. So Kvyat did get it stopped just in time, but had to go off the much narrower pit lane entry compared to the normal racing route into the Ford chicane. Going to head back to Joe, who's in the pit lane for us in this session.
I've established there are 2 programs running down here, guys. So the teams that have not qualified for the Hyperpole session tonight, they are looking at their race setups. They are honing their cars towards Saturday and what they will need to get through the 24 hours. However, the cars that have qualified, I'm seeing little tweaks of setup change going on. For instance, the number 50 Ferrari, that's the Fuoco, Molina and Nielsen car. That's just been in and had what looked to me, because I couldn't quite see, so it was at the back of the car where the change happened, and that looked like it could have been a ride-out change. I saw them just tweaking a bar, and considering, you know, a millimetre, half a millimetre of ride-out change on these cars, and it affects the amount of downforce that the car produces. Now, the 50 qualified 3rd yesterday. It will take part in Hyperpole, and this is in one of the teams that are on a completely different programme than the non-qualifiers, of course, because these are the teams that are honing their car towards that optimised lap time, because that's what this evening's Hyperpole session will all be about. So different programmes running down here. We're seeing massive amount of work going on some cars, like for instance bedding in brake pads and discs. However, here at the 50 Ferrari pit, they're tweaking the last bit of performance in readiness for tonight.
Joe Bradley with that CrowdStrike pit report, and very informative it was too. Alex Palou on the team radio at car number 2. So Palou is another one that missed the test day, and Alex Lynn and Earl Bamber, as they've actually been doing this year so far in the World Endurance Championship, had to tackle that day on their own, but they've had some success today, and Spa could have been the best race so far this season, but then Earl Bamber with that very minor misjudgment which had huge repercussions and fired the Cadillac up into the air, very nearly rolled it mid-air as well on the Kemmel Straight at Spa, as he hadn't cleared one of the LMGT3 BMWs when he was trying to overtake a Porsche.
Right, just going back to Joe's point about if you can split your garage, if you've got one car qualified and the other not, you can do the split programs. Cadillac Racing just moved top. They've got both of their cars, both 2 and 3, through to Hyperpole later this evening, so they can't. They've got to just focus on maybe how fast or maybe they sacrifice one. I don't know, but right now, clearly Alex Palou set the new fastest time, 3 minutes 28.4 seconds, so almost precisely 4 seconds down on the fastest time set in the first qualifying session, the session that defined the top 8 in each of the 3 categories that go through, of course, as I said, to Hyperpole this evening. But about 4 seconds off the pace, so let's see who's top of the charts. Alex Palou, car number 2, that's the Cadillac. 4, from Porsche Penske Motorsport, Felipe Nasr's second, and number 7, Toyota is in third.
3:30 on 91.2 FM Radio Le Mans. For 2024, we're around the world on the Radio Show Limited network of channels, and time to pause after just over 30 minutes of this session for our first hourly update.
The Hertz hourly update.
Yeah, well, this is going to be fun then to hear what everyone's got to say in the hourly update. As it always is quite entertaining when we go there as well. So, half an hour in, and Cadillac's still top, but I'm going to hand it over to the experts, I think, for the hourly updates. It's always a fun part. Just got to get ready when it's there. Here it is.
So we've had a total of 8 laps for the number 2 Cadillac of Alex Palou, as Bruce was just mentioning, the blue-fronted V-Series R. Its time of 3:28.442. And that puts that car nearly a quarter of a second faster than everybody else. Second position, it's the number 4 Porsche Penske Motorsport car of Felipe Nasr in his 963. Third fastest for the 7 Toyota of Nick de Vries from Gazoo Racing. And Nick new to that team, but has proven to be one of the quickest drivers in car number 7 so far. So their GR010 running third, ahead of Jack Aitken's Cadillac. That's the car that missed out on being in the hyperpole positions for tonight, but 311's clearly pretty quick in this session, fourth. And then in fifth place, the Alpine of Mick Schumacher. They're the first of their A424s running fifth, ahead of the 51 Ferrari from AF Corsa, the 499P of James Collado, but that's currently in the pits. Seventh fastest for the first of the Lamborghinis, the SC63 of Andrea Caldarelli. Peugeot Total Energies 9X8 for Loic Duval is 8th, number 94. Ninth fastest for the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 of Andre Lotra, also being serviced in the pits. And the second of the Lamborghini SC63s, Eduardo Mortara, in car number 63, is 10th fastest. In LMP2, it's a Pro-Am entered car that is fastest so far. Fred Vesti did the time a little earlier on, car number 47. It's a 3:38.0. And second of the LMP2s is one of the more standard lineups for Nolan Siegel. 3:38.258 that car has managed, car number 22 of United. Third fastest, 183, AF Corsa's Ben Barnicoat in his Oreca 07. Fourth fastest is the Proton competition entry for Massimo Cappietto, car number 9. Then it's the 45 LMP2 Pro-Am car for Colin Brown, which is... Colin Brown is in the CrowdStrike Racing by APR car number 45, ahead of Inter-Europol competitions Vlad Lomko, number 34. Seventh fastest Edex Sport, Richard de Guerres for number 28, and 37 Cool Racing's Ritoma Miato. Just speaking about him and his Toyota connections, but he's staying with Cool for this year's race and is 8th fastest. In LMGT3, United Autosports McLaren, Gregoire Sauce, 59 is fastest. His time, or the car's time, at 3:57.558, ahead of Franck Pereira's Iron Lynx number 60 Lamborghini Huracan. Mike Wainwright's GR Racing Ferrari number 86 is third. Then the 87 Acodis ASP team Lexus of Jack Hawksworth, fourth fastest. Another Acodis Lexus in behind for Kelvin van der Linde, fifth quickest, number 78. TF Sports Daniel Juncadea's Corvette is sixth fastest, number 82. Manthey Racing's Porsche, Alexander Malikin, number 92, seventh fastest. And it's the Proton competition Ford Mustang of Chris Meese, number 44, which is 8th quickest so far with still 2.5 hours to go.
There's a yellow flag at Marshall Point 35. Don't know exactly why yet, because our driver tracker up here in the comms box has stopped. Let me just refresh it to see if that does anything to it. It keeps saying from French to English as well, which always confuses me because it's always in normal English. Anyway, the yellows are out then, so we'll keep an eye out to see if or not this is going to change it around. Is it still... Yeah, there we go, time tracker working. So, Marshall Point 35, is there a car stopped down there? Not that I can see. Let's see if they know anything.
A bit of a drama in the Panis racing car.
Right,
and this is not the first time the Panis car has been seen spinning and on its own, coming out of the Ford chicane. This time it slapped the side of the barrier, though, whereas yesterday it brought out one of the slow zones early on in the lap because it found the gravel track at the top of the hill through Dunlop Curve. So this may well bring out another slow zone It's a yellow flag covering the end of the lap for the time being, though, Bruce.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's the same driver on board. It's Rodrigo Salas, who had yesterday's moment where he beached it, as you said, up at the top of the hill. That number 65.
Yeah, I can see
a very light touch against the tyre wall on the pit side of the pit straight, just looping it round after that final corner. Hopefully that's a quick fix, but it really was literally almost about 1 mile an hour when it touched the rubber. So hopefully no notable damage, but it's time lost, isn't it?
It was not that big of a hit, but it was big enough to bring it out. We have yellows at the moment, no sign of a slow zone coming from race control. Just like to thank Little Owl for that. It says, I'll say it here too, congrats on 5k subs, man, you truly deserve it as well. Thank you very much, Little Owl as well. Jack will be not joining us in the Le Mans coverage because he's busy, but he's off to a festival, I believe. But yeah, so still got the yellows out at the moment. So no sign of anything changing on the monitors. No slow zone, but then again, they can just get some cars out and push it in. It's not that far away from pit lane entry. They could get away with it without a slow zone. But knowing Le Mans, we will go slow zone. Just hope we don't have a safety car or red flag for any barrier repair throughout the next couple of hours as well. Reminder, qualifying coming up, the Hyperpole session. That's at 7 o'clock, 7 till 8? No, 6 o'clock. Radio Foucault.
The lap was good for P2. So it's P2, 2 tenths off. We had 2 tenths margin in slow zone 1 compared to your best slow zone 1. Next time you make a gap in the Fords, careful, don't stop that much. We got a reprimand.
Okay. So Foucault being told what he needs to do as well to make sure it's okay, as Cadillac Racing Alex Palou still fastest on a 3:28.442. Yellow flags still circulating. And come on, okay, if that car's still there, we're coming now with the 50 Ferrari. Is it still? I can't. Yeah, oh, it's got going. Yay, we're back to green. Fantastic. Rodrigo Salas has restarted the 65 car and has got going again. And the Porsche number 4 having some work done to it as well. The Porsche Penske Felipe Nasr, I believe, still at the wheel. He hasn't got out of the car as the rear gets some work done. 3-hour session, of course. It's designed for an hour each of the driver, but some drivers like to just get in for qualifying and know that they can push out the bonanza lap time then. There are 4 practice sessions, of course, 2 in the day, 2 in the night. So it makes it equal for everybody going into the race. So you get 6 hours in the day, 4 hours in the night. And the night session later on finishes 10 o'clock UK time, and that is 11 o'clock over there in France. And they can open up, ready for all the normal traffic, and that'll go on all day Friday as well. And then Saturday, you close it back up again, and you go racing for it as well. And also, the cameras haven't been set up yet at every other part of the circuit. So we haven't got all access cameras just yet here for Le Mans, and nothing down the Mulsanne straight either coming into the Mulsanne corner. We have got them on the normal, everyday, permanent parts of the circuit, which is coming through Porsche curves, which they modified a couple of years ago to make less dangerous. Which you can see why, but I still like it as well. So, how long have we got left? Green flag, 2 hours 20 to go. Here there's the Michelin 24 hours on the gantry. I don't know who you can tell sponsors this event as well. Rolex across the board as well. Cool Racing and MP2 still leading it as well. Let's go down to their number. Right, let's see if I can get this working then, because I need to type in 22. And it jumps to 22. There we go. But it doesn't do it automatically, which is really annoying. Oh. Okay, no, it doesn't let me jump to anything as well. There we go. Come on. It's always a tricky thing to get right, this one, because there's a hypercar that hasn't actually done a running order yet. There we go. So there's MP2's category. Well, actually, we've got Cool Races going, not United, so that's 22. Yeah, there we go, Cool Racing. Vesti in the pit lane. He's got it. GT3s as well. Look, the Isota team and the Jolter have not yet gone out on the circuit in hypercar, and they're spoiling everybody else's runarounds on these lap times. I was wondering why it was all changing up. We need a full page. That's what we need to keep an eye on every one of the timing monitors. So, 2 hours 19 to go. Must admit, this is the part where I love covering Le Mans, and I love covering Le Mans. The practice sessions, all that lot, not my favourite point because no one comes in to relieve me from the commentary box, and quite often I'm on my own. So it's not 100% action to go forward as well. I think Shea Adams arrived over there as well finally. As the actions continue, Palou still top at the moment. Scott Dixon down in 18th, the number 3 Cadillac as well. Gianni's dropped down to 20th place. Remember, he was right up there at the start of the session 41 minutes ago. Here's the Peugeot 93 team radio.
And a bigger TC cut than usual at the exit of the first chicane over the crown. Bigger than so far all week.
So the 93 Peugeot not exactly having go with the way the car is. The worst it's been all week. Remember, they did a pre-practice 1-2 test day on Saturday, so they've all had more practice than you'd imagine, which is weird that you keep going, honestly, for 24 hours of racing. On board with Foucault then, on the 50 Ferrari, coming out of Tête Rouge and entering the Mulsanne Straight. We're leaving the permanent built facility and now joining the road course here at Le Mans. Half street circuit, half permanent course Le Mans has become. It's a bizarre circuit, but it's so much fun. Everybody wants to win Le Mans in this amazing race. As we come down towards the chicane. The first one, renamed Daytona, after the IMSA WeatherTech and World Endurance Championship Alliance a couple of years ago. So at Daytona, we've got a Le Mans chicane, and now here at Le Mans, we've got the Daytona chicane. And you head down the Mulsanne Straight again towards the Michelin chicane, and then down towards Mulsanne hairpin. And then Indianapolis, back up towards the Porsche curves. Radio, full go.
That was 4 track limits in karting, 4 track limits in karting.
Yeah, but I think you should try to explain that you want to try the car crash into the wall or with the track limits.
Copy.
Them's the rules, Tony.
And Valentino Rossi's getting ready to head in as well. We can see the MotoGP legend. Car 33 and car 87 have been given a 5-minute stop-go penalty for track limits. Interesting. As they fly it through. There's a VLAN engineering car with Jack Aitken at the wheel. Where's that Cadillac at the moment? 5th fastest for the 311. Cadillac V-Series.R. Absolute pressure runner at the moment. Well, that car did amazing in IMSA at the Daytona 24 hours that we covered earlier on in the season. Oh yeah, this is going to be our second 24-hour race of the year. We did Daytona, and now we're doing Le Mans. And to be fair, we've just a couple of days ago come off a 28-hour call. So, in all honesty, Le Mans is going to feel a bit like a pit stop because it's not that hard anymore to do the hours that we do here on JB Motorsport. They just sort of tick on and go on as long as there's good racing and good action and good people in the commentary box. 328.442. I think we're coming up to an ad break shortly on Eurosport.
Go earlier in the last left of the last part of the chicane. And for this, if you need to kill a bit more your speed on the first part of the chicane, do it. But you need to go earlier in the last part and fully cut.
That's the 46 WRT team saying their radio messages coming on. So just all moving it around once more. Just trying to have a look, see if there's anything else that we're seeing coming through on race control messages. Nothing at the moment. As Matt Campbell gets ready. Is he disconnecting from his run? He's disconnected from his run as well. Daniel Cadera has given over to Hiroshi Komitsu as well in the 82 car. Aitken still circulating out there right now in the 311 as he flies it down. This is only the first hour, remember, of this session. We've got another 2 to go after this, which I know worries a lot of people. It worries me as well, but stick with us. And we'll have all the action here on JB Motorsports across the Le Mans 24 hours as well. And is that driver tracker surrogate? Yes, it is. Good. With the 311. Also, we're figuring out how to use that driver tracker finally as well. So it's sort of coming into its own a little bit now. Radio Aitken.
Jack Aitken not happy, clearly, despite the fact the car, to our eye, looks like it's got pace. And
well, he's up in 5th place, and he's into hyperpole, and the car is looking good. Ferrari, of course, of Antonio Frucco comes into the pit lane finally. So they've changed that over just a little bit more. Down on the back straight. And holding the advantage, Cadillac 3:28.442. Ferrari, of course, second fastest. Third for the Porsche Penske. Toyota GR running in 4th. And, of course, we also have some races coming up here today as well. So the support categories are running with some races. And it doesn't all take place on Saturday. Oh, no, we've got races coming up today as well for the supports. And then we've got the Legends of Le Mans race on Saturday morning as well after warm-up. And that is going to be absolutely fantastic as well to keep an eye on. And AP2 is just having the run around then. Thinking off to an ad break soon on Eurosport as the 46 car I expected to see come in this lap time has yet to come in at the moment. And is that the ad break I thought of? Oh, hello. TV pictures have gone crazy up here in the comms box. Let's go to Radio Le Mans. I've lost TV pictures.
As a kit, but so you know, we're going to stick to our plan. We know that we've got a good car. We've had a car that we've been happy with all week, and we're sure that through the race, as the track develops, it should come to us a little bit as well. So yeah, it's important to not get carried away trying to set your car up for this one practice session and stay focused on the long game.
Well, we keep hearing that the weather conditions are going to change, but at the moment it's pretty hot.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, this is perfect for everyone. It'd be nice if it stays dry for the fans as well. You know, it's a lot of people turning up to support us and watch this race, so it'd be really nice if they can all stay dry as well. But yeah, it's looking pretty mixed. So, which, you know, we would obviously rather it be a dry race. I'm sure everyone would, but at the same time, it is the same for everyone, and we just take what we're given and we do the best that we can.
All right, thanks very much, Ollie.
Thank you.
Ollie Milroy of Inception Racing, partnering again with Brendan Reeb, as he's done for a number of years now. And in fact, they have run one occasion previously when Inception couldn't enter their preferred McLaren because McLaren never built a GTE car. So they've run before with Ferraris. But only one year when Brendan and Ollie were in the car. I think then it was an Alex West entry after that, but that was a couple of years ago in the GT era, and it's so nice now for Inception to bring a car they know so well from other championships to Le Mans and actually outpace their in qualifying, outpace their McLaren counterparts, being United Autosports, because neither the 59 nor the 95 made it into Hyperpole tonight.
So Inception Racing, of course, run by Optimum Motorsport,
yes.
And you know, again, loads of experience with McLarens. But yeah, a very valid point. You know, now you can race GT3 anywhere. Come here, marginal difference, as you explained. Well, it's LMGT3 with the torque sensors and other elements. But you know, you've got your trade. You understand the car. And it certainly is a lot easier for drivers like Brendan Reeb, and Ollie Milroy's been there to guide him. And Frederick Schandorf has raced a lot with the Reeb in the last couple of years as well. Right, just still at the top of the table, it's still Earl Bamber. Well, Earl Bamber's in the car at the moment, the number 2 Cadillac Racing entry. Time not set by him, but it was by Alex Palou. Difficult for that team. They've got 2 Alexes, haven't they? They've got Alex Lynn and Alex Palou. But I saw Alex Palou race and win races in Formula 3 in Japan in 2017. He's taken a strange route to get to IndyCar. Came back to the season in European Formula 3, back to Japan to do Super Formula and the GT300 category, effectively GT3 cars in Super GT, and then bang, into IndyCar, and the rest is history. Second year, wins the championship. 4th year, wins the championship. And, you know, really personal guy too, as he was in the interview.
Yeah, 100%. And great to catch up with him because we missed him at test day, as mentioned, but it feels like he probably did take part in that now, purely because of the times that he's able to lay down without that preliminary running that both Alex Lynn and Earl Bamber, his teammates, had. A short time ago, Amin El-Hati straight-lined the second chicane, and the 46 had to wiggle through the big tyre stacks there. Since then, the WRT run M4 came into pit road just for an assessment, I think, to make sure that all was still straight, and clearly they were trying to radio to O'Harty to do one or two settings changes as well. In fact, Valentino Rossi has now taken that car over, so there's been a driver change. What did the Toyota do, though, a couple of seconds ago on that thin slither of grass between Forest Esses and Terre Rouge? It's the number 7 Toyota, which just dropped a couple of Michelins, the left side tyres, onto the grass and gave Nick de Vries a really scary moment. But thankfully, the car didn't think about rotating on him.
It's just that moment we were talking about it earlier today, about when you run a little bit wide going to Terre Rouge and you think you've got a fair bit of space, but it soon comes in on you. But it's still very, very bumpy, and Nick de Vries did the right thing there. He didn't really yank at the steering. He just kept it as smooth as possible over the bumps and then gradually rejoined. But really, it's a case of diminishing returns when you go off, and that'll be a moment to get the heart rate up in normal people, but racing drivers probably a mere flutter, and that's it. You know, staying at 120 beats a minute rather than with us, it might have those numbers reversed, certainly the first two. Right, looking for moves, looking for changes. It's all very, very stable at the top. In P2, it's Cool Racing, number 47 entry with Matt Bell at the wheel of that. That's fastest, ahead of Edex Sport. And we were talking earlier, that's a team that's had some troubled run-ins ahead of the race in recent seasons at Le Mans. But it's son of the father, it's Paul, son of Patrice, at the wheel at the moment. They're good for second place in class. And we were talking earlier also of inter-Europol competition. You know, they started small, they've grown and grown. Here they are, third fastest in P2. However, as we've heard from the pit lane, those that haven't made it through when it comes to going into hyperpole, of course, they can concentrate entirely on their race pace now. So this isn't indicative as it would have been in that first practice session yesterday.
The 33 DKR Engineering LMP2 car now being told that it's going to have to come into the pit lane and sit for 10 minutes. So a 10-minute stop-and-go penalty, again related to the breaching of track limits, and this a second offence. So normally it's a 5-minute stop-and-go penalty that everyone gets slapped with, and 23 cars have had to do 5, or either will do or have done 5-minute stop-and-go penalties during this session. But 33 taking that on by an extra layer now. So 10 minutes the due time there. Car 5 has also been issued with a 5-minute penalty. Car 5 is the Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 of Matt Campbell, Michael Christensen and Fred Makovici. Whilst the car sits for 5 or indeed 10 minutes in the case of DKR, you can't do anything with it. So it's not a case of being able to wheel it into the garage and do a few tweaks and a bit of setup change and whatever. You have to just stand and look at it. The car not allowed to be touched, and that is the penalty. So everyone starts with 3 hours, but it might only be 2 hours and 50 minutes in the case of DKR because of the breach of track limits. That's how serious Race Direction are trying to make it.
Well, they can't say they're confused by the message. Crystal clear to them now. Unfortunately for them, the DKR Engineering with the crew of Rennie Binder, Lawrence Hoare, and the driver at the wheel at the moment, Alex Matchell, they're bottom of the P2 pile at the moment. They're 16th in that 16-car class, so they really need the time. They have actually got through to hyperpole for P2, so they've got something to play with later tonight. But as a one-car team, maybe they're torn between what to go for now. Shall we work on our pace for that and see if we can start P2 higher than 8th in class? Well, who knows, but 10 minutes sitting at in the pits serving that penalty is not what the good doctor ordered. I'm not talking about Valentino Rossi there, by the way.
Certainly not. No, I understand. There is a slow zone in place now because of an incident that has happened at Marshall Post 2425, which is the 47 LMP2 car that is off the road, so that needing to be recovered. And Matt Bell in the Cool Racing car, fastest in fact, so fastest in the session, and was pushing like crazy into the Indianapolis area, but there's a slow zone now in place from Mulsanne all the way through to Arnage exit. You can go at full speed in the other portions of the track. Let's go back to Joe for a CrowdStrike pit lane report.
You know what, boys? It's hard not to get excited about this year's Le Mans, isn't it? And the excitement's building, certainly for me down here in the pit, because I can see exactly what people are doing. I've got both Ferraris in right now, the 51 and the 50. And remember, the 51, it needs to find 3/10 to get on par with the 50. That qualified third. So we've got both cars in, both receiving tweaks. That's all I can tell them. They're small, minor adjustments at the rear of the car, mainly on the 51 and likewise on the 50. And all I can think, because I can't really see over the sea of mechanics, who are also taking the advantage of while that rear end, whatever it is, damper, ride height setting, roll bar, whatever it might be, they're taking their time to service the front end. The nose section of the 51 is now on. It's ready for another run. And of course, it's not important for FP3 who's quickest, but what is important is to get this car somewhere where you know it's going to be tonight, and that's what we're doing here. And when you think of the battle at the front of the timing screen, at the top of the timing screens, I should say, as the rear deck now goes on the 51, you know, you've got Cadillac going quick, you've got Ferraris chasing them, you've got the Porsches chasing them. And the last time I looked, it was the Cadillac. Is that still the case? Because it's changing all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. But the Cadillac fastest car 2, the 50 Ferrari second quickest, and the number 4 Porsche from Penske. Felipe Nasr last at the wheel of car number 4, but he's brought that car into pit lane. That is third quickest, but we have, of the top 4 in hypercar, 4 different manufacturers as well. So Cadillac, Ferrari, Porsche, Toyota, Alpine not that far away either in 6th place, as Valentino Rossi now at a really frustrating speed, 80 kilometres per hour. He wants to be unleashing that right foot as soon as possible, but this is the approach to the recovery of Matt Bell's Cool Racing LMP2 Pro-Am car.
And the good news is the Manitou rescue vehicle has already got that car out of the gravel, put it back onto terra firma, shook it around a little bit to release some of the gravel there, so that 80 kilometre an hour slow zone that runs from, as Johnny said, from the exit of Mulsanne Corner all the way through Indianapolis to the exit of Arnage should be lifted fairly soon by my reckoning, as long as that number 47 Cool Racing Orica can actually get going again now it's been removed from the gravel trap.
And then it will take a few corners to unleash a lot of the gravel that has gone into the wheels, around the brakes as well, and that's a real nuisance for clearly what is a very quick car, especially when it's in the hands of the Newcastle man, Newcastle from the northeast of England rather than Newcastle, Australia. Matt may well bring that car straight back into pit lane for the necessary repair work or just redressing. They might have to put some airlines, take the wheels off and then blow some of that gravel out as well before they're happy for it to rejoin the session. And this is an excuse, I suppose, to get some cars in for work that might have been planned for a next pit stop at the end of a simulated stint. But whilst the track is not fully green, some may use this to do their stops a little earlier. On the other hand, if you are doing a simulated stint, it might be quite useful to have a slow zone stuck in the middle of it, because that is very realistic to how the race may pan out, particularly with some showers predicted over the 2 days that we'll be racing.
Very good point. Quite a few rookies this year, so again, finding these procedures, just working out where a zone starts, where a zone ends. These things they do need to know before the heat of the battle come the race.
Driver change in the number 88 Proton competition Ford Mustang. Dennis Olsen getting out. Giorgio Roda, the bronze, in. Remember, it's bronze only for LMGT3 qualifying later today in the Hyperpole session, whereas LMP2 and Hypercar driver choice is entirely free. Sebastian Buemi.
Now the brake balance adjustments I've done are actually good. I would not necessarily change the car. I just feel like with the wind, I needed to adapt a lot of things and tell the guys to be very on in.
That's Sebastian Buemi on the team radio from Toyota number 8. It is 3:04. It's 91.2 FM Radio Le Mans. Time to check the latest weather.
The weather on Radio Le Mans, brought to you by VP Fuels.
So the high today, well, current temperature 21 degrees Celsius. We're just dropping down now from today's high of 22, but there are still showers in the vicinity, and the question is whether 40% constitutes getting those wet weather tyres ready for the remaining part of this session. Actually, the interval at 6 o'clock, remember that at 6:30 tonight there is a Road to Le Mans race, that is showing that it should be drier. Hyperpole might also be affected though by sweeping showers. A low tonight of 14 Celsius, and then fewer showers tomorrow, a little bit more cloud with the sun peeping through, and the expected high is 19.
Whatever the weather, you can depend on VP Fuels and Lubricants.
Now, one of the other Toyotas left the road at the Ford chicane, I noticed. The 8 was already in pit lane, so that was the 7, I believe, unless the 8 car had a moment on the previous lap. Neither of those, well, the 8 car is currently 11th fastest in this session, and Buemi's just brought it in after that radio message. Car 7 is now on an out lap. And that was Nick de Vries. So was that Buemi messing up the pit lane entry?
It was. It was Buemi having just said the brake adjustment is fantastic. He's then obviously trying to maximise how deep he can come in before he hits the limiter as he approaches the pit lane. It just locked up, went through because he have to go jink to the right, straight ahead, left, right, flick, and he just couldn't get to the flick and went through the gravel. So brake balance absolutely fine.
Easy on the big curves, easy on the big curves. Full focus from now, also for track limit, please.
Okay, message to Valentino Rossi. Next year it'd be a good year. He'll be racing number 46 as a 46-year-old. He's 45 years old at the minute. But motorbike racers don't tend to use the curbs as much as four-wheel racers because he's got previous and a very successful previous. But
yeah, true.
Valentino, he's just such good value in a team, just such a sensational guy. And I'm gathering that it's causing quite a lot of problems at the circuit traffic because he does bring his own fan base wherever he goes. It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why the tickets sold out so quickly for this year's 24 Hours of Le Mans. I love the style, the font of the 46 on the side of this car as well, just like it appeared on his motorcycles through the years. Interestingly, that was the end of a 12-lap stint for Sebastian Buemi, so he was coming in at a real lick. He'd just done a purple Sector 1, a personal best through Sector 2. I should reiterate that the radio messages that we're hearing live are not actually being had at the point we listen to them. They're delayed by 30 to 60 seconds. So he will have had that conversation about brake bias and the balance of the car before then coming into pit lane, and he will have been told by his engineer absolutely maximise this in-lap because that's what you do in this modern era of sports car racing. So much time can be gained and indeed lost if the out-lap, if you don't approach the out-lap as you would any other lap in the stint, and also, you know, that you cannot afford to be sort of adjusting as you're coming on an out-lap either to current conditions, to traffic around you. Some others that you're racing might do that, but that's where it's a big win if you really maximise the out and the in laps. Lamborghini coming into pit road, the Iron Lynx car number 60, to complete potentially a stint as well, as we can head back to Joe Bradley for this CrowdStrike pit report.
I just want to add a little bit of information on that out and in lap thing. The in lap is very important to stay on it all the way till the pit line, until you have to hit the pit limiter. And the reason for that is if you have a cool down lap, then your tyre temps and your tyre pressures are going to cool off on that in lap. So you've got to tell your driver to be in and on it all the way to that line so that when the car arrives, you can get a right, an accurate, I should say, tyre pressure and also the temperature across the face of the tread. And that's all important, and that's the reason why you see drivers really coming into the pits hard. Even in a practice session like this, when the timing isn't as important as in the race. Of course, time spent in the pits and in and out of the pits in the race is even more vital, but that is the reason behind coming in hard.
And the other thing, when we get to the race, and quite possibly some of these sessions, is that they're not given enough tyres to have a new set every single stint. So we are going to have to be certainly doubling, maybe trebling, and perhaps through the night, quadrupling. So with no tyre warmers or ways of keeping that heat, it's obviously going to ebb away during a pit stop, which can take a fair time if you're giving the car a full load of fuel. It's the fuel fill that is the time determining factor, because you can do a driver change inside the fuel window, and if you're not then doing tyres, which have to be a separate action, they can't be done at the same time as the fuel, but if you're retaining those tyres, then you're talking probably best part of a minute if you're doing a driver change as well, to make sure that that tyre temp doesn't ebb away too much. So all the more reason to push for that in lap.
Well, another element, Joe, down to you on this one. we've got the situation still with the slow zone running from Mulsanne through Indianapolis to Arnage. That will obviously affect the temperature of the tyres when the drivers come in, giving effectively the pit crews an inaccurate situation from how it would be if they're running at full pace.
Yeah, inaccurate reading for pressures, as Joe has mentioned, and tyre surface temperature as well. So you want that all to be optimised. And Paul Truswell was making the point during the Le Mans test day that it's just very easy to let your concentration wane. You're thinking, oh, I've done potentially, you know, a triple stint in the night. I'm nearly at the end. I've just got to get the car into the pit lane, and you can just let your mind wander a little bit by accident. You only know you've left the zone. What's the phrase again? Hang on a moment. The moment you realise you've left the zone is the point where the concentration has just gone. Then, you know, and no longer is the focus on the job in hand, and it's so easy to do. But these 24-hour races have become sprints and have been that way for the last 10 years or so.
Now, absolutely so, Johnny, and it has been a remarkable transition to that. We've still got 4 cars that haven't set the time. We talked at the start of the session about how the number 12 Hertz Team Jota Porsche 963, a new one is being built up from a tub. We heard from Inception Racing, from Ollie Milroy, talking about the delays they've had with their McLaren 720S. That's car number 70. Also in the LMGT3 class, Proton number 77, one of their Mustangs. That has been out but hasn't set a time. It's been out and in, as has the McLaren from Inception. And also Isotta Fraschini, car number 11, running in the hypercar class. At the tail of the class, has actually clocked up 8 laps but not set a flying lap. So they're working through problems, one would suggest. So it'd be good to keep an eye on them. We've just got through just over an hour of this three-hour free practice, 3 sessions, so they've got time to get out, but it might be worth seeing if there are any notable problems, because all of those are in the garage. Actually, without number 77, that has just gone back out onto the circuit and is going to set a time probably next time around. So don't look in their garage, but certainly Isotta Fraschini, be good to find out if they're having any notable problems.
Matt Campbell's on an outlap in the number 5 Penske 963 as the FAT International backed number 99 Porsche bounces its way through the Ford chicane. FAT International back as a lifestyle brand, but in the 80s and 90s it was a transport company, as far as I know. Français Allemand Transit International.
It was on a lot of cars over the years, and you know, they didn't just stay with one team. They moved across the various championships, but I rather like that. In fact, I'm far more keen on a classic sponsor coming back than I am from having someone like Isotta Fraschini having a 70-year gap and coming back as a brand. I don't like that lack of continuity. That's just me, but they're not going to have much of a say in it, because with more manufacturers, notably Aston Martin, coming to play in hypercar, I guess they may be moved aside.
Yellow flags out on the racetrack, and we might be on the cusp of another. In fact, the slow zone is now. The slow zone is going to be brought to an end. In fact, zone 6 in less than a minute's time. That gives us a chance to head to a new voice in the pit lane, Nick Damon, with his CrowdStrike pit report.
At the number 19 Lamborghini pit with Andrea Calderoni. Andrea, basically, very open question. How's it going so far for the 19?
It's really been up and down. We had a bit of a struggle yesterday in qualifying. We were trying something different compared to the sister car, and we were not sure if it was going to work, and it didn't. So that was quite simple. So yeah, a bit frustrating from yesterday, but today we put back the car as we know, and I did 6-7 laps before, and I was quite happy with the car. So I think we come back to where we feel it should be.
Neither cars made it into Hyperpole. Is that actually a positive thing? You can concentrate on getting the car set up and not worry about that session.
To be fair, we had already a bit of that attitude and like strategy and thinking before the qualifying. We knew that, you know, either we make it or not to Hyperpole, with the focus is on the 24th. So we are focused. We are keeping doing our program as before, and Hyperpole really didn't change much from what we were planning.
What are the realistic aims for the team in both this car and the 63?
Well, for sure, the target is to finish the race first. That's the target for Lamborghini. This is our first year with the car, and so I think to finish the race without major problem, it's already a big success. But I have to say, the car also shows some good performance in some conditions. So we just really need to put it together. And but yeah, I think the main thing realistically is we should be able to finish the race.
I mean, how much reliability testing have you done outside of the obviously the long distance races you've done in both IMSA and WEC? Have you done those 30-hour tests?
To be fair, we didn't manage to do it before. We tried a couple of times, but for one reason or another, weather condition and so on, we didn't manage to do all of it. So for us, this is really a test 24 hour.
Andrea, thank you very much. Andrea Cardarelli out of the 19 Lamborghini. Now we're just going down the pit lane, but to another Italian manufacturer with a very British Joe Bradley.
And a very Canadian Antonio Serraval. Antonio, the Asano Fraschini is, we were wondering where it is on track, and then I've come down, I've investigated. There's a lot of work going on there. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. JK just went on track, did a couple laps. We did some changes from last night. And we found a little bit of something in the front with the brakes right now, so we're just adjusting it to make it better for feeling. So that's what they're working on right now. Yeah.
Just getting the car right for the race, I would imagine.
Yes, for sure. We just need a little bit more stable on the brakes right now, so that's the goal.
All right, you guys are very, very early in the development of this car. The pressure's off, perhaps? You just have to go round and round, surely?
Yeah, for sure. Every time we go out, the goal is to improve and just get more laps in the car and learn all the tracks as well. So that's the goal for all of us.
Not much then. Not much to learn, Antonio.
Yeah, not too much to learn. But to be honest, so far it's going all right. We did a lot of changes last night for the night practice, and we know that we could have been a lot faster. So we're going the right direction. It's just we're just trying things for the practice for the race.
Great. There's a lot of talk about the lack of tyre warmers here. When is your car's tyres ready to really push and optimized?
So to be honest, the soft tires, they're good the second lap. The medium, it's a couple laps, maybe 3 or 4 laps. But it is very nervous and very loose on the first outing, but the soft is the way to go at night, I think, so for us.
That must be very nerve-wracking. I mean, you're going to discover that when you apply the brakes after a long straight, and you don't know whether you've got the tyres there or not, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a big experience for me, first time with this track and these tires as well at night, so it's just going to be a learning curve for me.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for talking to us, Antonio. We'll talk to you during the race, no doubt. Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
it, man.
Antonio Serraval, making the point that for Isotta and for him, I guess, going to completely new tracks pretty much all the way through the year in the FIA World Endurance Championship, and has never been to the 24 Hours of Le Mans before. Although being Canadian, there's got to be some French heritage there, perhaps. So I'm sure he and his family will know plenty about this race. I also wonder whether there's some Italian heritage with a name like Antonio. But great, enthusiastic character, just 21 years old and learning all the time, Bruce.
Yeah, and he meant, but his teammate Carl Botana Bennett is even younger. He's not yet 20, he's 19. But he referred there to JK. Of course, that's the experience there, Jean-Carl Verdet, who's been around quite some while in racing. French Porsche champion long ago, back in 2012. But he's really worked hard on this programme. News just coming through, 4 crews have been given a 5-minute penalty for slow zone infractions. And again, we were just talking about how you need to learn the procedures, and that's absolutely proved that point. And just for reference, the cars that have picked up those penalties, the number 3 Cadillac, that's an experienced crew. The 66 entry is another JMW Motorsport crew, that's the Ferrari. Giacomo Petrombelli at the wheel, but we don't know if he was at the time. 95 United Autosports, Hiroshi Hamaguchi in the McLaren, that too, and the treble 7, the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. Marco Sorensen on board, but that's in the pit. He may not have been the driver who brought it in. So we talked about teams having a 10-minute stop. There's his 5 minutes. It's a slap on the wrist.
Have a look, see if you see it. Well, it was look for the signboard.
And the other thing about Jean-Carl Vernet is with his Audi heritage, so with GT3s and also for the touring car background too. Jean-Carl Vernet. Peugeot going straight on at the second chicane. That's not the first time that's happened. The number 94 car now having to thread to the right and to the left and make sure that the exit route is clear. Blue flags were being waved as well to a car possibly to the 94 to warn of a quicker hypercar wanting to get through. So that will be a bit of a concern for the Peugeot mechanics, that the 9X8s having difficulty stopping into, well, those very hard stops, 2 of them on the Mulsanne straight. It might not be brake related, it might be more to do with tyres, of course. They're the only thing in contact with the ground at the end of the day, and if that car's running on a worn set, that might well be the case. As Earl Bamber continues to be fastest in this session. 16 laps now completed for the number 2 Cadillac V Series R. And faster by 0.2 of a second from Sebastian Buemi's Toyota Gazoo Racing GR010. LMP2 Pro-Am still led by Matt Bell's Cool Racing car, even though that brought out a slow zone at Indianapolis, and number 47 car was put back onto the road, and Matt was able to drive round to the pits under the car's own steam. But we haven't seen it since, whilst checks are being made. LMGT3's fastest car is a United Autosports McLaren. James Cottingham currently driving the 59 machine.
James, of course, cut his teeth largely in historic racing and has run some phenomenal cars across the years, particularly at events like the Goodwood Revival. But great to see, last year he hopped across really and put his foot in the GT racing camp, going from strength to strength, but it's all a learning process. Here is one thing if you're competing in the Michelin Le Mans Cup, the Road to Le Mans event, but when you step up to this with the big rigs and more to the point with the hypercars, that is just a whole new game for any level of driver to learn.
Romain Grosjean now at the wheel of the number 19 Lamborghini. Relatively quiet straight for him to deal with some lappery just before Mulsanne corner. And the Ford Mustang that was the first into the Hyperpole top 8 in yesterday evening's qualifying session, that's currently with 77, isn't it? So Zach Robichon at the wheel of that. John Hindhaugh trying to track down the Canadian during the CrowdStrike paddock perambulation show. He had him for one moment, was about to turn and ask him a question, and he'd gone. So quick he is. So I think that's a fabulous lineup.
This lap, big confirmed driver change for Brendan.
And more radio traffic from Toyota referencing Brendan Hartley in car number 8.
Yeah, but what's happened in this session, Toyota had its problems early on. We saw Sebastian Buemi getting it wrong, but suddenly they're 2nd and 5th in the charts. Number 8 in 2nd place with Seb Buemi at the wheel at the moment. Nick De Vries, who had that bouncy ride across the grass verge up at Tete Rouge before we slow zone curve at the opposite end of the track. But they are starting to find their feet. I do think this is what's going to happen through the course of this meeting. I could be wrong, but it just seems to look that way at the moment. The good news is for all the runners is that we're green all the way around the circuit. Almost all the front runners are out on the track. So we may suddenly get some quicker times coming our way.
And whilst we wait for those, let's head back to pit lane to Nick Damon for a CrowdStrike pit report.
Yeah, with a rare thing, a Ferrari not run by AF Corsa, with Larry Tenford by the JMW Ferrari pit. Again, kind of basic thing, how you feel the meeting's going so far for the team?
I think for the team WEC, the meeting so far goes really well. I'm really happy to be here, to be honest, and also with Giacomo and Yuluk. I think we have a great lineup. For me, it's the first time in a Ferrari, so I'm smiling. Car feels good. We had a great qualifying yesterday, and Giacomo is going to do his best in the Hyperpole. But to drive here is amazing, I'm so happy everything worked out, and you see I have a big smile.
Giacomo's in the car at the moment. Is he actually doing any work towards Hyperpole, or is it just a bit of a bonus to get in there?
For sure, every lap you can do, it's better because you learn more about the track, you learn more about maybe little efforts, little mistakes, or things what goes really well. So I think over to Giacomo, it's good to do every meeting he can, and we give him that also. So yeah, it's always good to be in the car.
You say you're enjoying the Ferrari. How different is this mid-engine car to what you're used to?
Yeah, of course, it's a little bit of a different driving feeling, but to be honest, I like it, and I can adapt quickly on it. You know, I've been now a few years in the car, so I know how to drive as fast as I can, but it's nice to drive it, so I like it. Great feeling, great to be here.
Great stuff. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
A real character, Larry ten Voorde, and yeah, has been in cars with Ben Keating in the past, a couple of seasons there. That amazing attempted double weekend. Well, I say attempted, he did actually manage it. It's just that the Nürburgring didn't continue all the way through the night, but he was willing to do a Porsche Carrera Cup race at Imola on the Saturday, then jet to the Nürburgring to do a couple of overnight stints, back to Imola for race 2 in the Carrera Cup in Italia. He's just a crazy Dutchman at the end of the day. Get as much racing into a weekend as possible.
Top marks. Love the attitude, but it must be... So it's lovely here in Italy. What do you mean it's still foggy up at the Nürburgring? And that fog, it's, you know, most days, even in late, rather cool, early summer, you expect any mist to burn off by about 9 or 10 in the morning. It's still there, and only started clearing at 3 o'clock, just as the race was called an hour early. Quite extraordinary. Dropped literally 100 feet below the level of starting straight on leaving the circuit, clear skies. It just stayed there. This grey mantle. Great race being shaped up at the time, but there we are. 23:23 as we recorded at the time. At the time the race was red flagged, and it was we had endless comments in the morning. Next report at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. So frustrating.
Huge!
He's a former...
Right, so we've got a huge one now, and it's the 59 of the GT3 category that have gone off into the wall. This will be a slow zone. You might be able to get it out, but it's red flag. Wow! So they've immediately decided just to stop the session. So it's one of the McLaren from Inception Racing, gets off the exit curb, red flags out, turns into Tête Rouge, rear steps out, loses round, 360s. It's going to go in backwards into the tyre barrier, and that's the reason for the red flag, because they're going to have to get this car sorted again. So we have a red flag with 90 minutes to go. Here's Eduardo Freitas.
He's left us with barrier repairs, literally within 2 minutes of walking off air.
So David Anderson has left them with barrier repair then as well as we're going to the changeover time. So this is now big for Inception Racing, the 95 as well, the United squad. They are in the 59 squad actually. This is United. Oh, and a marshal's fallen over on the debris. I hope you're okay there, sir. So, the 59 has hit the wall, red flags are out, and that is the United Autosports James Cottingham at the wheel, the McLaren 720S GT3, rear suspension broken, tyre barrier needed to be repaired, session suspended under the steward's review. So this is going to be a big one. Let's head back to Radio Le Mans.
Marshall Post 6 was initially double waved yellows, and now with debris across the racetrack, no other choice but for Eduardo Freitas and the rest of his team in race direction to pause. The clock does not stop though. That continues on, and we're 7 minutes away from the half distance marker in free practice 3. Very easy to have a moment though there at Tête Rouge, with particularly in a heavy LMGT3 car. When you compare them to the hypercars, they're reliant a lot of the time on their mechanical grip, and if you just hit the curb at the wrong angle, slightly too much curb, that can spit the car into a violent spin.
And a lot of the moments out there, we discussed this beforehand, even probably off air, that often the moment has started at the forest curves, exit of, if you've just got it wrong in that wonderful serpentine right and then left combination, and apparently in this case just run a little wide, dirt on the tyres out of the Forest S's, and then go into Tête Rouge where you really want lots of grip, lots of downforce, and that is classically what can occur there. Just trying to see. So just as the track had lost its slow zone, about 5 minutes ago down at Indianapolis, obviously then we can't continue with the situation with the red flag being called when James Cottingham went off at Tête Rouge in that number 59 McLaren. The car for United Autosports that was actually top of the timesheets in GT3 at that particular juncture, 38th overall. And so pretty much everybody has now made it back to the pit lane following the falling of the red flag there. So what did we get? We got about an hour and 23 into this 3-hour stint.
Yeah, and James Cottingham being assisted from the car marshals on the scene very quickly indeed. And with Cadillac fastest, but having to come back to pit lane at a much reduced speed. Lots of information relayed to drivers during the driver's briefing as to how to behave during a red flag. And it is to try and get back to the pit lane, obviously as safely as possible and at a significantly reduced speed. Normally, when a slow zone is in place, or a full course yellow, which is a rarer thing here at Le Mans, the speed limit is actually 80 kilometres per hour, but everybody is encouraged to go slower than that to anticipate having to stop around the next corner as well. So go at a speed where you slow down and be prepared to stop, because probably the crews, the engineers, are able to tell drivers where the affected area is. But those cars heading towards Tête Rouge will need to bear right to avoid picking up any debris on their tyres. So Earl Bamber is, or has been, in the fastest car in the number 2, 19 laps completed. And I'm sure Cadillac have been toying with their strategy through the course of this session so far as well, as in doing a simulated race stint, at least one. We'll check on that in a moment or two with Paul Truswell, who's been monitoring how many laps cars have been staying out for. But we do know that Sebastian Buemi has done at least one 12-lap stint. And that car coming in at a very high rate of knots indeed, and almost going back to the track rather than the pit lane, but Buemi was able to stop in time. That car's been in the pits for a little while now. Nicholas Nielsen, 3rd fastest, but with this red flag somewhat intervening with our the flow of free practice 3, this seems a good opportunity to get another Hertz-Hourly update in place.
The Hertz-Hourly update, getting you to your let's go moments for more than 100.
So this is it then. We're under a red flag delay, and it's time for the hourly update provided by Radio Le Mans. And this is always one of my favourite times of the year. Always got to be careful there with the music. So here we go. Johnny Palmer.
Earl Bamber and the Cadillac number 2 with the blue front is the fastest car so far in free practice 3, the third of 4 FP sessions over the 2 days, yesterday into today. One hour session still to come later on, remember, at 10 o'clock. The best of the Toyotas is car number 8 for Sebastian Buemi, the GR010 hybrid, second fastest, and only 0.2 of a second, exactly 0.2 of a second slower than the Cadillac's best time, a 3:28.642, and then a 3:28.6 as well for the best of the Ferrari 499Ps. Nicholas Nielsen last in the number 50 car, all cars being a red flag apart from the 59 McLaren are into pit road now, and of course a couple were not even able to take part in this session. They are still being repaired. 4th fastest for the number 4 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 for Philippe Nasser. Then it's Nick de Vries's Toyota number 7 for the second of the GR010 hybrids, and that car's done a 3:28.721. 6th fastest is the 311 numbered Wayland Cadillac V-Series R of Filip Drugovic. Mathieu Vaxivière, the Alpine A424, is the Alpine Endurance Team's number 36 car. And then 8th fastest, the 51 Ferrari for Antonio Giovinazzi in the second of the 499Ps. Scott Dixon in his Cadillac number 3 is 9th fastest, and in 10th position it's the number 19 Lamborghini of Matteo Cairoli from Iron Lynx. LMP2 Pro-Am, Cool Racing's Matt Bell, he's already brought out a slow zone after the car left the road at Indianapolis and ended up in the gravel trap, so Matt's car needed to be recovered. But prior to that, he'd done a 3:37.342 to be fastest of all of the LMP2 cars. The LMP2 standard driver lineups, quickest of those is Paul Lafargue, for EDEX Sport, number 28. Third fastest is the Inter-Europol competition car of Kuba Śmiechowski, number 34. And fourth quickest is number 22, Oliver Jarvis for United Autosports. It's a Pro-Am car, also fifth fastest, so second of the Pro-Ams. Matthias Besch for Panis Racing, number 65. Proton Competitions, Jonas Reed for the LMP2 lineup at car number 9 is sixth fastest. Ahead of in seventh, AF Corsa's Francois Perrodo in the Pro-Am 183. And the 45 Pro-Am entry for CrowdStrike Racing by APR, George Kurtz. LMGT3, United Autosports McLaren, that has been fastest so far with a 357.558. That car bringing out the red flags after an off at Tête Rouge. But I also now have spotted another issue for a McLaren. This is the number 70. So having said that all the cars other than the 59 had managed to get back to the pits, that wasn't strictly accurate, because what looked like out on the exit of Arnage, Fred Scharndorf has stopped. Couldn't see any damage on the Inception Racing LMGT3 Evo car, but that's having to be now put on a flatbed, and it's not Arnage, it's the exit out of Mulsanne with the signalling pits right next to where that 70 car has stopped. Second fastest in LMGT3 is the Claudio Schiavone Lamborghini for Iron Lynx, number 60. Third fastest is the GR Racing Riccardo Pera Ferrari, number 86. Fourth, the 55 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari Alessio Rivera, ahead of Esteban Masson's Lexus. In fact, both of the Acodis RCFs are 5th and 6th. Together on the timing screen, 87 faster than 78. TF Sports Corvette in the hands of Hiroshi Koizumi. Most recently, the 82 car is 7th fastest, ahead of Zachary Robichon for Ford Mustang and the Proton Competition crew, number 77. 8th quickest so far.
Hourly updates brought to you by Hertz, getting you to your let's go moments for over 100 years.
Well, good afternoon if you are just joining us on 91.2 FM. This is the Ford Performance Studios, and from Studio 2 back over to Studio 1 and on Studio Vision as well. Hello, it's Paul Truswell and John Hindorf. Fred Scharndorf out of the Inception McLaren on the exit of Mulsanne. It's going to get picked up and taken away. Joe Bradley's just told me that they have no clue what's happened there. Meantime, the clean-up continues after James Cottingham's nasty-looking incident down at the entrance to Tête Rouge. He'd been off on the grass on the exit of the Forest S's and got his left-hand side tyres very, very dirty indeed, and I'm just wondering if that played a part when he turned in to the right-hander. So it's Trusses and Hindy in the booth. Down in the pit lane, our CrowdStrike pit lane reporting team is Joe Bradley, as we mentioned, but let's take an update first of all from Nick Damon, who's down at Hertz Team Jota.
Yeah, and you're probably saying, oh, he's going to tell us about the 12, which of course is being rebuilt from scratch, but no.
Are you going to tell us about the 12, Nick?
No. Well, I might do, because a couple of things about the 12 I'm going to tell you. No, I was meandering down, and there's a car on the high stand, but hang on, that's too much car on the high stand. No, the 38's also got a problem. It's been there for about 10 minutes, or actually more, it's about a quarter of an hour probably. Floor's off. They are working intensively on something in the left-hand side pod. Now, I can't see what it is to even hazard a guess, but it's something in the left-hand side pod. They're also draining a lot of fluids out the car as well. I think they're just about getting to the putting it back together stage again. I could be being a bit optimistic with this, but it does mean, of course, that a lot of the engineers who were supposed to be rebuilding the 12 are now mending the 38. The 12...
I have a question.
You go for it.
Are they putting the race gearbox in or something?
No. The engine and gearbox are fully attached. It's something's gone wrong in the left-hand side, which is located, or you Porsche 963 fans, it's just ahead of the radiators in the left-hand side pod. Now, the other thing is, the work on the 12 is absolutely massive, because what they got was a bare chassis, not a dressed chassis, John. Dressed chassis is like the pipe work, the electric, and more importantly, the wiring loom fit into it. There is no wiring loom in this car. They are currently fitting the wiring loom into it. It's in bits of wire. Look at my feet. I have a large number of wires that are all labelled up. And when I say a large number, I would say well over 100 different pieces of cable. They are doing the pipe work, which loops around the chassis right now. It is a massive job. The quite nice though, because the whole engine, you have a good engine pour at the back with the engine.
For the curbs, because for me you'd rather have a little bit of ride height but be able to use the curbs here
It was annoying
rather
me.
than having to stay off the curbs for the whole race, because you lose so much time.
Plus a light fuel load, so less weight in the car, therefore you can run it a bit lower.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if you are a Cadillac fan, particularly if you're based in North America, you can come and see these cars and all the rest of the field in action in August. 1st of August is going to be the race date in COTA.
Toasty.
That will be slightly warm, won't it? Oh, I beg your pardon. I say August, I mean September. Do I mean September? Oh, yeah, no, 31st of August, 1st of September. That's the weekend. So it is 1st of September, not 1st of August. We will be in Sao Paulo, Brazil as well in the middle of July.
We'll go ahead and put you in line. We'll send you when Jared's ready. Get you out there with some prototypes.
So the Wheel and Caddy crew, again, adding to the Cadillac lineup as they did last year. 3 cars last year. There were 2 regular cars in World Endurance last year, plus 1 from the IMSA WeatherTech series. This year, there's only 1 regular in the World Endurance Championship. That's the number 2 car. And so the number 3 and what would have been the number 4 if 4 hadn't been purloined by Porsche Penske Motorsport. That has been allocated 3-1-1 to the Wheel and Cadillac team. There's Freddie Schandorf. And noticed quite a lot of fluid being swept up where the car had stopped. Everything fit to go at Tertre Rouge, so I'm sure James Cottingham's car is on the back of a flatbed and heading back to the pit lane. They tend to try and give the teams, I mean, this is Le Mans, they try and give the teams as much chance to fix the car as possible. Let's hear from the Ferrari team.
So the traction compared to yesterday is, I think, about last chicane and also Dunlop chicane. So from low speed and also Busan and Arnaz, all the low speed is worse than yesterday. I don't know why, but I think maybe also because first of all maybe the pressure is higher, and also because the rear is just just using more the rear in general next to then you lose performance and traction.
That was Antonio Giovinazzi, brain dumping there to the engineers about traction. And again, Peter, as this track is used more and gets more rubber on it, it tends to give a bit more grip, but the temperatures are cooler than they were yesterday because there's more cloud cover and people have thrown gravel everywhere and lots of debris. So everything changes, doesn't it?
You know, sometimes different tyre manufacturers' tyres, rubber going down on the track will affect a Michelin shod car. So, yeah, the Road to Le Mans tyres might be slightly different. You know, it's all kinds of little things.
And of course, the other 2 classes, LMP2 and LMGT3, are using Dunlop. Goodyear rubber. Wash my mouth out. So there's that as well. Now then, down in the Cadillac team, not with the yellows, but with the blues, is Bruce Joanny. Bruce, you've got someone to chat to.
No, well, I just had a chat to him, but he went back. It's Earl Bamber, who had a massive crash in Spa, and we had to talk about his chassis. And it's funny enough, the chassis that he crashed in Spa was damaged. They had to replace the tub. That car that they crashed was Renger van der Zande. Cars from last year that he also crashed in Spa. So he said to me, well, that tub and that car really didn't like Spa, and in fact they didn't really like the car, and they wanted to change the chassis and the tub basically for Le Mans. And because the tub was cracked, well, they were pretty happy. They had that car, which is a used chassis, but they're much happier about it, and it seems to be working well for them.
All right, I didn't know it was the car that Renger had that accident in. He lost the steering in Eau Rouge last year quite early in the race and obviously went straight on up the hill instead of round the corner up the hill. So, yeah, that car clearly has had a bit of a fraught time at Spa-Francorchamps and is probably...
I don't quite know how the staffing works in the COTA team, but they may well be short of mechanics. I mean, they'll have enough to service both cars in terms of changing the wheels and refueling, because they'll have 2 separate teams for that. But in terms of working on something fundamental on the car, as Nick was describing, that becomes more of an issue. You'll certainly have your chassis experts, you'll have the wiring loom experts, you'll have the gearbox experts, But if they've got problems on both cars, they may well need the expert in both places. And as Nick was saying, the car has committed to do a shakedown test by 8 o'clock tomorrow evening out on the airfield, not on the track, on the airfield. But if they don't do that, their only other chance then is to get the car out in morning warm-up, noon warm-up, lunchtime warm-up on Saturday morning. Otherwise, that car's going to be out of the race altogether. Whatever, it's on the back foot. And I think there will be a lot of British fans here rooting for Jota, perhaps wanting to root for Porsche, but not wanting to go the American side, wanting to wave the flag for the UK. I don't know, but certainly they're on the back foot.
Well, as I said to David Clark in our CrowdStrike paddock walk, British privateers running Porsches have a great history here. I mean, start naming them, and I'll start with Richard Lloyd.
Yeah.
You know, they were a great fan favourite, weren't they? Undoubtedly. So, a big impact for the McLaren from United with James Cottingham on board. James got out of the car under his own steam. We'll get a word from United from our CrowdStrike pit lane reporting team.
Yes, he was well into his stint, John. He'd done 4 laps. Well, he was on his 4th lap of his stint, so he should have been settled in. But as you say, he just got onto the loose stuff, and I think from then on, he just would have been fighting for control of the car. I always see those incidents and think Mike Rockenfeller, who had a massive accident at Terre Rouge some years ago, and you know, the way they've rebuilt the barriers there is supposed to give us a little bit more space, but the tyre wall does just stick out a little bit at the point where James hit it, and not quite sure for the reason of that. There's probably something behind there that they want to protect, but it is just as the ACO-owned part of the track goes on to the public road. So we'll say that compromises a little bit how they configure the barriers, but yeah, it's good to see James Cottingham getting out of that car, but it did cause a red flag and an interruption for about 15 minutes.
And as the red flag was out in a completely separate incident, although it was another McLaren, Fred Scharndorf in the Inception number 70 ground to a halt coming out of Mulsanne corner in a sort of Jesus Pereira style of way, for those of you who have long memories, although that was a Repsol Porsche, and it was in the last hour of the race and was absolutely heartbreaking. It scarred me in the early years of Le Mans. How could the race be so cruel? Driven most of the night in that car because one of his teammates had had a shunt in one of the
Oscar Larari.
Yeah, Oscar Larari, yeah. They'd had a shunt in one of the support races, hadn't they? And they were on for a podium there. Gave up a podium position to the British Silk Jag.
The second place Jaguar, yes.
Joe Bradley is down at United and can give us a little bit of an update from McLaren and James Cottingham.
Well, most importantly is James has radioed in that he's absolutely fine. The car not so. They're waiting to get the car back and have a full assessment of what they need to repair on that. But the important thing is that James Cottingham is fine.
Thank you, Joe. Joe Bradley down in the pit lane.
Remarkable thing, Johnny mentioned this actually just before he did the hourly update a few minutes ago, but I am absolutely astonished. The top 12 cars covered by less than a second, which around a 3.5 minute lap. I mean, we talk about cars in the UK doing lap times of within a second of each other, and that's around the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch, or maybe the national circuit at Silverstone or somewhere. But around a 3.5 minute, 13.6 kilometre circuit, to have 12 cars, hypercars, different manufacturers, separated by less than a second.
Not only different manufacturers, but different philosophies, because we have 2 completely different rule sets there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we've got the GTP cars and the hypercars.
LMDH and LMA, as the ACO calls them.
Yes. They're all hypercars as far as the class is concerned.
Yes, exactly. Actually, if you go onto the ACO website, wrong website, look up their news items, there is a very good description of how the BOP works. What they do is to describe the platform balancing, which is to balance the LMDH and the LMH cars. And then they have a second tier of balancing, which is the manufacturer balancing.
Correct.
Which balances the different brands, whether they be from Porsche or from Alpine or from Cadillac or whoever. And then there's a third level of balancing, which is performance balancing. So it's quite well explained, it's not quite well, it's very well explained on the ACO website. And if you are sufficiently interested that you want to get into the minutiae of the detail, because sometimes we just skate over some of these things. But on the website, as I say, if you look at the news items and look for BOP explained, then it does give a very good description of how the balancing works.
And if you go on to radiolemans.com and look at the features or use the search tool, and Thierry Bouvier, who's the man at the head of the clever parts of the technical division of the ACO, and he basically has to come up with this and make it all work. He and his team, he would say it was a team effort, and of course he'd be absolutely right, because this takes an awful lot of work. He spoke to me start of the year last year when they brought this form of BOP in, or performance measuring. Actually, it's as much about the measuring as the balancing and getting the data
process,
to start with. And he explained
get the data first.
Get all the data first, and that's all done by the ACO independently of anything that the teams or the manufacturers supply them. It's all done with the ACO monitoring, and then it goes into an ACO approved wind tunnel. It happens to be the Audi F1 wind tunnel, the Sauber wind tunnel in Switzerland. And then he went through that very clearly for us there. And then at the start of this season in Qatar, he came and joined us during the race, and we've broken both of those out as sort of inside WEC BOP stories. Go and search for those and hear the man who has to make it work talk about why as well, not just what they're doing, but what they're trying to achieve by doing it. And it actually changed my mind and my perception of what was going on quite significantly on both of those. A job that none of us want to do. Calendars and BOP.
Never mind wanting to do, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
No.
Even with the best team in the world.
Here's some radio from Matteo Caroli.
I mean, the front is pushing out big time compared to what I was used.
Roman was talking about some porpoising because of being at our ride heights that we're at, so that's going to be some of it.
I just go for another lap to double check, but I mean, it doesn't feel too normal at the moment. I will double check.
So that didn't sound like that was good news in any way, shape or form there from Ferrari. In the pit lane at the moment, the Cadillac with the gold front on it, and Sebastian Bourdais waiting to go out. Sebastian Bourdais, born in Le Mans, lived in the States for a long time now.
Son of Patrick Bourdais, who those with long memories will remember as being a race driver here at Le Mans.
And Joe Bradley is down there looking at some adjustments that's going on at the back as the fat Porsche. Sorry, that is by no means saying it's a beast. The FAT number 99 Pro of Porsche climbs the curb and bails out of a lap at the very last. Joe Bradley looking at that adjustment going on behind the back of the number 2 Cadillac V-Series R.
They're still twiddling, aren't they? They're still tweaking, they're still warning. And this number 3 Cadillac has now got the rear deck put back on, so I didn't quite catch what they were doing. But it's little, they've got little spanners in there, so it's maybe a ride height or a damper change or something, a damper setting. But now that's the car off the jacks. You'll not hear it pull away. Except, hang on, he's been released. Yeah, you don't hear it pull away these days because it's on hype.
But you do when it fires up eventually, which is Very cool. They're sort of bump starting the car, aren't they? Track limits, 5th offence for the BMW. Marco Wittmann behind the wheel of that car. Antonio Giovinazzi just heading down towards the first chicane, across the curbs, left, then right, all over the exit, and heading down the middle part of the Mulsanne Straight. Checking in his mirror to see if anybody's catching him up. Looks a picture of calmness in that car. Oh, do you know, for a moment, just going across the line there, turning into the first corner, the AO number 14, the TF LMP2 Spike, the Dragon. I just glanced there, and all of a sudden it was a Jaguar XJR14 in that dark purple. Just the way the sun caught it. I'm not sure Tom Walkinshaw would have ever had the Dragon's wings on any of his cars. Sure that the Mighty Scott was quite that playful.
I'm not quite sure it was that shade of purple.
No,
either.
It wasn't. But
I think it may have been the light.
Do you remember that they did have that sort of lighter shade of purple though on the Ross Brawn car, on the 90. What would that have been?
1991, I think.
Yeah, 1991 car with that big rear wing when they were up against the Lola with the double diffuser, the blown diffuser. Ross Brawn obviously saw that and took that away for future use. Alpine in the pits is the number 36, which is at the moment sitting in a very creditable 7th position. Mathieu Vaxvier, Frenchman, brought it in. Alpine with Karin Hyperpole later. And another track limits, but this time an overtake outside track limits for the number 19 Lamborghini. And that was, what, half an hour ago now, 40 minutes ago. Caldarelli behind the wheel of that car when it happened. Still just on an hour and 8 minutes to go in this session. Coverage to come this afternoon here on 91.2 FM around the track and around the world on RS1 of the Road to Le Mans race. Johnny Palmer and Bruce Jones lying in a darkened room for that to prepare. Let's go down to Jota where Joe's been lurking, and let's find out from Will Stevens how things are going on. Up and down day, happy and sad as far as they were concerned. Coulda, shoulda, would have been in hypercar, but then the car was in the wall and the rebuild started this morning. Joe Bradley has this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
Complete bare tub rebuild for the number 12 Jota Porsche. Will Stevens, Will, you could be lying in a dark room, you could be off somewhere having a lovely French meal, but here you are. I've been up and down this pit lane for the last 2 hours, and you have stood in this garage watching these boys and girls fix your car. I mean, that's commendable, mate. That's how much interest you have. You're sort of so engaged with this process.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these guys and girls in the team work so hard to get the cars prepared and ready for the week, and we were having such a good week, honestly, up until this point. So obviously the incident for Callum yesterday evening wasn't ideal, but it's one of those things. It's how we respond from there, so a lot of work ahead, but we'll be fine. That's what this team does. We'll be strong, and we'll be there when we need to be.
Did you used to prep your own cart, by the way?
Say that again?
Did you used to prep your own cart? It's got some spanners over there. Just go pick a toolbox up.
I did say I'll help out, but probably not the wisest idea. But no, obviously just here to support the guys. Help any way I can, really.
Mate, commendable. Thanks, Will.
Let's bounce straight to Nick Damon, who has just seen the return of the McLaren number 95. Check that, the 59. Sorry, wrong one. James Cottingham's car's come back to you. It's immediately been put under its dust cover before it was rolled back in, Nick.
Yeah, they are they're being very, very secret screw about it. Oh no, actually going to take the cover off now. That'll be exciting. Whilst it's in the pit lane itself, they were keeping it well covered up. I think the problem, obviously, with the car is at the rear right. I think that's the most deranged of the tyres. Here it comes off. It's got it. Oh, actually, this is not massively. Well, what I'll say is it doesn't look massively serious. It's gone in heavily. It's gone in
Nick,
backwards.
Yeah, it went in absolutely square backwards. Absolutely. I want you to have a look, if you can, at the left rear tyre and suspension. James was on the grass for a very long way, just coming to the end part of the Forest S's. And he sort of went a bit wide, went over the curb, got sideways, kept his foot beautifully controlled, it has to be said. But I'm just wondering if he might have damaged the tyre or the suspension when he came back onto the track, which then compromised his turning to the Red Hill, Tertre Rouge.
Yeah, the left rear tyre has already been removed when the first they took it off. Suspension was actually the look about is actually having a look to see what has been knocked in through and round. From a distance, the rear left looks pretty straight. It looks like he's slightly got away with this, and he's gone in backwards so square that the damage is limited. But after my statement on air yesterday that there was nothing wrong with the 12 when Callum Ilott came off, I'm going to kind of keep a bit quiet. But it does look like he's gone in backwards. The damage doesn't look too bad. It's expensive, obviously, but actually, as far as serious, all I can say is it doesn't look particularly serious, but then I'm not an engineer. It has taken out a few bits of the back. It has shortened the car by about 2 inches, but I think that's going to be okay.
Thank you very much to Radio Le Mans as well for giving us a break up here in the comm team as well. Megan Birch about to join us in a second for the last hour, and obviously every time we go to commercial break on TV, we'll head down to Radio Le Mans as well. So let's give you a bit of a refresh if you're just joining us. It's the number 2 Cadillac who is first in class in hypercar. Alex Lynn controlling that 328.442. In LMP2, leading the way is actually the Pro-Am car, the 47 Cool Racing as well, with Nathan Rao at the wheel, 337.342. And in LMGT3, it's the United Autosports McLaren 720S 59 car of James Cottingham who's top, but he crashed out around about 45 minutes ago and brought out the red flags as well. And car 9 of Reed has been given a warning flag for track limits out here on the circuit right now as well. So there's a few that need to be adjusted. We're on board with the number 5, Porsche Penske, as well of Matt Campbell, as he comes down through La Chapelle and in towards the road course of Le Mans, down towards Tertre Rouge and the Mulsanne Straight, as the weather radars start to go crazy. Last day of dry running. Apparently there's going to be loads of showers across the 24-hour race as well. Just like a couple of years ago when we started under the safety car and got going about an hour later. There was a lot of problematic reasons there as well for that reason. Also, if you're just joining us, JB Motorsports reached 5,000 subscribers in this stream as well. We started at 499 earlier, and the producers put the graphic on. So to say again, thank you to everybody who's subscribed. It means an awful lot to us here at the team, and you'll be seeing all the team members throughout the weekend as well, joining us in the comms box. Not just always going to be me standing here doing one thing. Oh no, those who know this team is massive and have some very big names as well that coming over. Also want to take this opportunity to say good luck to our colleague and friend Maddie Patterson, who her racing team, Semket Racing, starts its first ever race weekend at Mazzano tomorrow with practice, qualifying, and then races on Saturday and Sunday. So do take a look at that as well. Hello again, Brad. He says, Josh, what do you think of the Sky Sports IndyCar deal running out at the end of the year? Yeah, I was glad you mentioned that, actually, because I was about to say, I replied to F1 Broadcasting about this, who mentioned it, and I said, on the opposite note, it could be very good, because if Sky can negotiate with Fox over an IndyCar extension, which I think it will be, I think Sky will keep the rights to IndyCar because Sky had rights with NBC and like that. They don't, just to confirm, they do not go, Sky do not organise rights with Fox. They go to Penske Entertainment and IndyCar themselves to negotiate TV rights. They just take the pictures from Fox. So it's a main deal with IndyCar themselves, Penske Entertainment. So I don't think there's going to be that big of a change. All that we would have is that Fox would have TV pictures. But if they can get it right, might finally do something, because Sky have wanted NASCAR back for a number of years. But NASCAR don't really want to have that put in, so it could be that Sky finally get NASCAR alongside it as well. 2 hours down and 1 hour to go here for the session. As I've just received a tweet coming through, which surprised me because it's comes through quite clearly. Yeah, okay. Right, I'm being told to hand back over to Red Lamar for an update and some weather updates as well.
I'm assuming are going to be pretty much the times we're going to be getting during the race. LMP2 class, LMP2 Pro, or the genuine LMP2 class rather than the Pro-Am subdivision. Talking of track limits, a 5-minute stop and hold penalty for the Panis Racing Orica number 65. Rodrigo Sales had that car off earlier on, but managed to get going again. He was stuck at the Ford chicane, but as I say, managed to fire the car up after a brief slow zone. But the car now having to sit in the pits for an extra 5 minutes before it can go out again.
Paul Truswell and John Hindhaugh with you. We've just gone past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Time to take a little squidge at the weather.
The weather.
On Radio Le Mans, brought to you by VP Fuels.
Well, top temperature today should have been somewhere around about 22 Celsius, partly sunny with a little bit of drizzle, they said. Maybe a shower late afternoon into the evening. Tonight's low now forecasted only 13 degrees, not that low at all. As we head into Friday, an afternoon shower with a top temperature of 22. Brief shower or two on Saturday with a top temperature of 19. And on Sunday, a morning shower and showers throughout the day on a top temperature of 20 degrees. That's your weather forecast here on Radio Le Mans for 2024.
Whatever the weather, you can depend on VP Fuels and Lubricants.
Well, hello to you all who are tuning in here at the track at 91.2 FM, or maybe you're sneaking a little bit of discreet listening. We've decided, after a couple of tweets yesterday, that Radio Le Mans is emotional support radio at this time of year. So your bosses can't stop you listening to it. It is your emotional support if you can't be here. Because clearly you're traumatised by not being here. So there you go. That's your excuse for a bit of discreet listening at work in your safe space. Cadillac Racing still on top of the times with that 3:28.442 earlier on. Has that car gone back out again? I've lost my cursor. Where's my cursor gone? There it is. That car is just going back out in the hands of Alex Lynn, in fact. The second place car is in the hands of Brendan Hartley, which makes it a Toyota Gazoo Racing GR010. And that's number 8, not in Hyperpole. Nicholas Nielsen, Ferrari AF Corsa, number 15, Ferrari 499P in third. 0.0069. Then another half a tenth further back, Porsche Penske Motorsport, Nick Tandy in the fourth car. That was the 75 car last year, if it makes sense. That was the extra car, if you will, or the US car. Then the second of the Toyota Gazoo Racing cars, Jose Maria Lopez filling in for Mike Conway. That's the number 7 car in fifth. 311 Whalen Cadillac. Felipe Brunovic in that car. Then it's Mathieu Vaxivière for Alpine in 7th. Ferrari F Corsa number 51, Antonio Giovinazzi in the 499P. Scott Dixon is the answer if you're asking who the Cadillac racing driver is in the number 3 car. And that car is in 9th position. And Matteo Cairoli in the Ireland Lynx Lamborghini SC63, number 19, in 10th position. I don't think we've heard from Christopher Meese so far this weekend. Or this week, should I say. We'll give it a go with Nick. We have got a bit of interference on Nick's mic from somebody who is not supposed to be on our channel, but we'll give it a go and see if we can make it work. Nick.
Chris, first of all, the 44 cars currently in the garage. Any problem?
I don't know. I just arrived. I was in our driver's room. Looks like Ben mentioned some small vibrations, so we just came in probably for a security check. Everything seems alright, so it's going out again.
So Ben's brought that 44 Proton competition forward. Now, the thing I found really amazing is this is your first Le Mans, isn't it?
Yeah, 35 years of age, and I'm a rookie here, so no, it's pretty cool to be here with Ford. Obviously, it's a new project with the Mustang. Yeah, I'm just happy and glad that they've chosen me to join Car 44 for this race.
And how old is it at 35? You have to go to Paris, do your sim work, you have to get extra laps in on Sunday. Was there a lot of extra pressure, or did you find it all quite easy this qualifying?
Well, I mean, the track looks easy, but it's not 100% easy. I mean, obviously, you have the long straights. Probably it's more mentally exhausting than physically, but still, like the Porsche corners and the brake zone, super important here, more important than anywhere else. So by now, we have done enough laps, but still, you're learning every lap you do, and it's a cool experience.
You've obviously been in GT3 machinery for a number of years with other manufacturers. How's this front engine Ford compared to them?
Well, it was a bit different when I drove it the first time, but now since I've done all the long races in IMSA and obviously in GT World Challenge in Europe, I got to know this car better and better, and I feel like now I'm finally able to extract 100% out of the car. It's cool, it's different, it's fun. I wish you could feel the vibrations we feel in the car. Well, you only hear the noise, but I can tell you it's vibrating the same amount like you hear the car from outside.
The team had a number of erratas, sort of amendments, allowable amendments within the rules prior to this race. Can you feel the difference they've made, or are they something like reliability?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the car was always reliable. We didn't have any technical issues in Daytona or Sebring. It was always like some body work. Obviously, the rear decklet was the most obvious, which threw off. But obviously in testing you never side draft, so the problem, what caused the problem was side drafting. But in what development test or in whatever test you normally go side drafting, right? So we figured that out quite early, had to wait for permission from the FIA to change the part. Now it's changed and it shouldn't be an issue anymore.
Yes, enjoy your first Le Mans.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
First Le Mans. A couple of people asked me about radios. They've been on sale from Tuesday at the circuit, at the ACO sales points at Panorama at the north entrance, at Grandstand 12, at the Annex entrance, the South Tunnel, the Paddock Village, Dunlop Bridge, East entrance. Tonight and from 10 in the morning till 2100 today. Tomorrow from 10 in the morning to 7 o'clock. Saturday 8 till 2200 and 8 till 1500 on Sunday at all of those locations. You can get some Radio Le Mans radios, the over-the-ear type. They work very well indeed.
I have to say I went out yesterday evening, John, as you know, to actually watch some cars, and there were radios being sold they were just in the way somehow. You know, you had to kind of skirt round them. So if you are in the circuit, can't miss them.
Good. Ollie Jarvis, I think Di said she has down in the pit lane for this CrowdStrike pit report. Is that right?
I did indeed, yes, from the number 22 United Autosports. Ollie, you've just jumped out of the car. You're obviously chatting to the engineers. How's it going for you so far? How would you describe it?
I think overall we look pretty quick. Team have given us a great car, but you know, being quick and feeling good in the car are two different things. And I think today the track's changed hugely. I think everybody's really struggling for grip. You know, it's really difficult to drive out there. The balance changes every corner. and I'm putting it down to the wind at the moment, but a very difficult session. But like I say, the lap times are there, so we're reasonably happy.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the grip levels have changed. Do you think it's got anything to do with the support races that have been out there this morning?
I don't think so, to be quite honest. Not unless they were driving around dropping oil everywhere. I mean, the grip just isn't there. What you could do yesterday, you just can't do today. It's 2 to 3 seconds slower.
We know you've had a lot of time out there for practice at the moment. There's still an awful long way to go, but how would you describe racing here at Le Mans?
It's incredible. It still gives you goosebumps. I think it's my 13th time here, and I still arrive with a smile on my face. And, the track itself, the whole atmosphere, it's just the pinnacle of endurance racing.
Oliver, thanks for chatting to us for the moment. We'll catch up with you over the weekend. Many thanks.
And Alex Lynn has jumped up to the top of the timesheet as well, as we have the slow 37 going down of Cool Racing in 11th place in the MP2 category, going slow, coming out of the Mulsanne. So, alongside me now in the comms box is Josh T. JT, hello, nice to see you. Welcome to Le Mans. We've broken 5k subs as well while you've been away. How's it all been then? Are you nearly finished everything by now? Come on, it's mid-July. It's like mid-June.
My final exam is Friday afternoon, so tomorrow.
Thank God for that. You're free for the whole... Oh, hello a minute. What's happened? My camera's frozen. Oh.
And then I go into the transition period.
So my yeah. What's happened there?
I get to work with like the maintenance team and the kitchen staff and get to become a TA for some lessons.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
All the fun stuff.
Can't they let you just, I don't know, have the holiday?
No, it's fun.
You have a different idea of fun. Right. Hang on a minute. Our cameras have disconnected. They need reconnecting because, laws. Right, come on. There we go. There we go. Hello, everyone. 5,005 now, subscribers. As we fly in. JT, love to get your thoughts on IndyCar. Fox are taking over. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what point do we panic?
What point do we find out what commentators are commentating on it, unless that's already been done?
I don't know yet. Nothing.
Alright.
Brad says as well, nobody clearly watched it because Sky's Indy 500 coverage was awful. They couldn't even be bothered to fly to Indianapolis. I don't blame them because neither would I. What's the point? Well, actually, Sky's pre-race show that aired on YouTube was insanely popular, and the viewing figures for the actual 500 across all 4 channels that it broadcast on, don't forget, was actually better than the Monaco Grand Prix coverage viewing figures. So it was decent, very decent indeed. And the reason they don't send people out to Indianapolis is because why would they? Why would they send when they've already got a team over there? Let's not forget, Sky's coverage of IndyCar is to fill in the breaks for when NBC aren't hosting. NBC take the main show, so NBC were on site doing all the pre-race show ceremony and all that lot. Why would Sky go over there when they're just piggybacking on it? It doesn't make sense. NBC are the broadcasters as well. They all work together, so it's not efficient, and it's easier to remotely control things from your UK studio. So ideally, you would at least send one person out there from Sky to do some bits, but that's something that can be learned upon. And personally, go on.
It's what they did to pre-record, didn't they?
Yeah. And personally, I would have Tom Gaymore, instead of being at the studio commentating on the TV pictures, during commercial breaks, I'd go picture-in-picture and put Tom Gaymore out on the track. So I'd put him out there on the track, and each time we go to commercial break, it's at different points on the circuit, and you've got picture-in-picture, a bit like how Martin Brundle does it. So it just adds a level of enjoyment to it. In fact, I might pitch that. Tom might be on, oh yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit more fun, because then it gives you a little bit of a different experience covering the coverage. Omi says, Fox, lol. Adam says, well, should be quite interesting 25 regarding IndyCar on Fox. I say, NBC have had problems for years. They've let it grow stale. I would much rather see a bit of energy being put into it as well. And let's not forget, on principle, this is a great deal because for Fox, it's all on, in America, it's all on Fox, main Big Fox. So that's brilliant. And no races on Peacock or anything like that. No, not on streaming services. So it's all great news.
That is a... Yeah.
But
I forgot about that bit.
it's the thing of, are they actually going to have it? They need Lee Diffie, though. Lee will not leave NBC. So Lee is very... This has been done probably for a while. And I had the feeling that Lee Diffie knew. And that's why he's gone over to do the NASCAR stuff. So that's why Lee Diffie is now doing NASCAR. He knows that he's losing IndyCar and he's gone over to NASCAR for the second half of the season. Ideally, I know... Yeah, go on.
Only one event in April for IndyCar next year, but then there's 5 races in July.
Yeah, shoot me, the busiest one of the year. I'm not covering all them all. We're going to have some people on standby for that because we have things to do. Yeah. As they come through, let's just have a look at the 27 car. Was it a brake failure or suspension? It was a puncture on the tyre along the front there. So it was a shredded Goodyear on the LMP2 car. That's what caused the puncture. And he did well, actually, to get that back into the pit lane and to get it out on the circuit as well. Personally, I think let's give Kevin Lee the main job. He's been wanting to do it for years. He's worked for Fox before. Let's give Kevin Lee the main job as lead play-by-play commentator. He's ready. So yeah, that's who I would put up there.
Someone who's more ready is you.
I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I would not do IndyCar. Do you know why? I'd have to move to America. Not doing that.
Yeah.
Not doing that. I'd happily work there for a season, but I'm not doing it all permanently.
Yeah.
I'd fly over.
Moving to America is so annoying.
Yeah, I'd do the Indy 500. I'd go over there and do the month of May happily. No problems about that whatsoever. But permanently making a trip over there, no, I would not do it. I would much rather, just. I know the people that say, yeah, but you fly around the world to do Formula One. That's different. You always fly back home. I would not want to be completely on my own in America. So no. Although sound like it at this point. Here's Michelle Gatting as well for the Iron Dames 85 squad. As she comes down. And what? You've noticed her. Have you noticed that Le Mans next year clashes with one of the races?
No. Have I noticed that Formula E is at Miami while IndyCar is at Long Beach, which is East Coast, West Coast time zones?
Yeah, so that just means that we're on insanely long hours.
Yes, with Bahrain F1, F2 and F3. Which makes it long hours.
Look, we'll plan. Just get it on the calendar and we'll plan it. We'll get it all sorted when we need to. It'll all be fine. Iron Dames looks great at the moment.
This is fine.
Look, we've got plenty of team members. Look, I'm even thinking of stepping away for majority of F2 and F3 next year as well. And I think other people have the lead commentary role in that for some races as well, just to give you a break.
Hello.
Sorry, JT, but Omi got there first, and so did Jess.
Omi, Jess, Simple.
All jumping ahead of you there in the queue. But anyway, you've got
I've already got touring cars and NASCAR.
And IndyCar, so.
And IndyCar.
Yeah.
And whatever other series you just throw at me.
Quite a lot, probably. It's going to be an annoying one. Still, at least I'm not on NASCAR this weekend. That's going to be fine. I will be dead to the world.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, but you get sleep. You get
maybe.
Sleep. What do you mean maybe? You're not doing the whole 24 hours. You've got to remember that because it all falls to you. I will not be there at all to do anything. I will be dead to the world for the next 14 hours or so. As a complete reject.
Miami, F1, Monaco, Formula E and IndyCar Barber. That will be an interesting weekend.
Any of them affecting the touring cars?
Not yet.
Good. Even if they are, I'm doing touring cars over IndyCar. So, it doesn't really bother me. Just got to get the right equipment out to the people who are calling those races as well. And get that all set up over the next 7 months. Also, fun little thing, I won't be calling something in Abu Dhabi because Sao Paulo E-Prix. Same day on the Saturday it starts, so qualifying, the final day of Formula 1. Yeah. Later on this year in Abu Dhabi. And the opener for Formula E. So as one closes, one starts as well. Quickly, just hand over to the world feed.
Curves, but you can't do that anymore with these sausage curbs.
Map 2.
Look at the speed there, 265 kilometres an hour, 162 miles an hour as he gets onto the brakes with the LMP2 car coming alongside him. So cramping his style a little bit as well.
Sorry, my iPad just got nicked coming into it as well. So, 39 minutes to go. I must admit though, JT, I'm fed up with this. I really am. I cannot be... I've done too many hours of Le Mans practice. It's driving me up the wall. On my own as well. Tom saved me last night. Megan was here earlier on as well yesterday.
I mean, I was meant to be here last night.
Yeah. What happened?
It all kicked off yesterday.
Just don't open the window. The assassin droids haven't got there yet. And what is happening with the number 4 Porsche, who cannot find his way into the pit lane if he had a guide dog? He was going over the curb, left, right, left, right, left, right. It was all over the place. He says F2, F3 will be fun for me. Also F2, I did secure the role. I'm also doing the media stuff. Hey, brilliant. I have more inside info now too. Fantastic. I need to get that sorted as well, coming into it. But I'll tell you one thing as well. We have got a very interesting lineup for the remaining races because I believe in July, when now that Josh T is not busy, we can actually get the rest of the calendar year sorted, so we know who's where and when, and people can put their availability down. We should have another big clash coming in Hungary, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Hungary, London Formula E, Toronto IndyCar.
Yeah. Always a fun one.
And the Brickyard 400, sorry.
Yeah, now correct me if I'm wrong, is Indy Toronto starting before the Brickyard 400? Because if so, we can do Toronto, then do the Brickyard 400 as well. I'd like to do the Brickyard 400. They're going to be exactly... I bet they're going to be exactly the same time, just to spoil all our fun as well. Yellow flag at Marshall. Marshall Point 24 and 25.
Oh, gosh.
Same time?
No.
What's the difference? What's the time?
Toronto starts 1 p.m. Eastern. Indianapolis 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, so they just should be ending and starting. Fab.
I think I might have to take over the end of
Indy.
Toronto, so
Yes.
you can go to
I would assume that is the
and
fair
then I
bet,
can
yeah.
And then I can join you
Slow
at
zone.
NASCAR after IndyCar's done.
Yeah, and Slow Zone is coming out. We need to get the talent call out for NASCAR actually as well to see who's... Oh, hello, the 65 cars hit the wall. And that is the Panis Racing, the current top in LMP2. And that is at Indianapolis. Slow Zone is coming out. Now, how's he done it? He's locked up on entry and gone straight on into the barrier. And it's knocked the tyre wall out. Slow Zone is now in effect. And that's now slowed everybody. Great. Oh, that's just going to affect everything as well. Yes, Adam, I did.
I've got this, right?
Do you know what
I've got two different spotter guides. I've got the official one, and I've got this one, because this one tells you all the differences of the cars that are similar, and it's got what grade the drivers are.
Yeah, I've got that one up on the
that one. Yeah.
All my notes being finalised tomorrow, of course, and then being stuck up around the commentary box, all the food being brought, box being cleaned up. It's going to be very, very nice as well. Yes, Adam, I did hear about Liberty Global. I've had a row on Twitter about it as well. I must admit, I love how people don't think.
I want to see this. Hold on.
I must admit, it does slightly think to me that, of course I've heard. I hear everything. Every single bit of media in the world from motorsport I hear of. I know everything.
Hey, Josh,
Yeah.
have you heard that Fox is taking over IndyCar next year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's like I was the person to tell the Grid Network that fact as well. It's just Anyway, we're on break on Eurosport under a slow zone. You know what that means? It's back to Radio Le Mans.
We had any suggestions, and it was I was quite emotional when he turned up on Wednesday, and we got him on Midweek Motorsport. He's done a tremendous job, along with his mum and dad and his uncle. They've all pulled together, and the motorsport community has as well, including quite a lot of you, our listeners on the collective, who've thrown in their 10s and 20s and 30s and 50 euros and pounds and dollars and whatever. And I did say we weren't going to finish just because he'd got to the line. He's over 50% of his target now, which is to provide free cardiac screening for young people for 2 days. That's around about £6,500 per day. And we're more than halfway there. But I did say we would keep going all the way through. And I said if anybody corporately who was listening would like to put some money in, I'd give them a name check. And fair play to Gibson Technology, who have just made a donation to Harry of a couple of £100, 250 quid actually. So Gibson Tech, the guys from Derbyshire, thank you very much indeed for pushing that total up. We'll be keeping an eye on that Just Giving page. If you want to know more details about it, use your search engine Just Giving, and if you look either for Harry Chandler or the Tour du Mont, then you will find out all the details. It's basically all for cardiac screening in the young too. Incredibly, we have 12 people a month are dying from cardiac disease that has not been found in them. No previous symptoms in young people under 25. Sometimes it happens when they're playing sports, sometimes just when they're out walking the dog or doing nothing at all. It's an incredible statistic, and one that can be helped by screening, and that's what Harry's trying to do. Cardiac research in the young. Harry Chandler, Tour du Mont, look it up, and thanks to Gibson Tech for all of their donation. I promised you Nick Damon. Let's give you Nick Damon down with Inception. I'm going to send Joe Bradley to the number 6 Porsche in a moment as well, because somebody's going on there. Nick, what can you tell us about the Fred Scharndorf car that ground to a halt when it came out of Mulsanne corner?
Well, it was quite. First of all, it was being walked back into the pits completely differently from the United Autosports McLaren, which was under a sheet and all damage. There's no visible damage on this car. As they came down, it's walked down by the engine. It's walked down by the mechanics, and there's a marshal or a pit lane marshal with a big yellow flag. He's like almost like the red flag you used to have to walk behind the car in the 1890s. So basically, he's waving this flag at the same time as the DKR engineering car, which is next to, wants to come in. And there's a standoff between the 33 DKR engineering car and the marshal with the yellow flag, because he didn't know what they were doing. But eventually, after about 10 seconds of staring at each other, they decided that perhaps the DKR car was allowed to go into his pit stop. That was okay. Anyway, then it came Inception, and they lifted the boot, probably hoping to find a wire out of place, or perhaps a fuse had blown. Unfortunately, they found a huge amount of gearbox oil. So that's not good news. So it looks like they've got the best gearbox, the worst gearbox failure. It's not a control reset or a couple of big electricity. Unfortunately, it's big mechanical oily bits.
I'm with Colin Brown from the CrowdStrike Racing up the other end of the pit lane from Nick. Colin, we tried to get a chat with you yesterday. It didn't quite work out, so I appreciate you waiting. But good to see you. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, doing great. Happy to be here, having a good time, and looking forward to getting going on Saturday.
How satisfied are you with how things are going for yourself and the team so far?
Yeah, I think it's gone good. I mean, it's been a bit of a circumstance that, we didn't get really a chance to try to make it into the Hyperpole. Just never got a clear lap. But, we have a fast car. I did a good lap in the first practice that think was going to be P2, but we got a ding for track limits. So, you know, it's so tight, it's on the edge. But
radio mic number
we know
2
we have a
is-
fast car. We've got a well-prepped car. Nikki and GK have been doing a great job. And, you know, kind of a shame we didn't make the hyperpole, but that's just the lottery of the traffic and the outlaps and trying to put it together. It's man, it's tough. It's tough to get it all put together and nail that lap for sure.
How challenging is it to drive this circuit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, this is my second year in a row here now in the P2 car, so a bit easier, I would say, than last year, but still, you know, it's Le Mans, it's tough, it's ever-changing, everything's a little different always, the wind direction has such a big influence on the balance, but, you know, it's all those things just come with experience, and you try to filter through it and make good sense of it so we can improve the balance of the car in the practice, and hopefully it's dialed in for Saturday.
Have you had any issues with the tyres at all? A number of teams have said they're sort of losing grip quite a lot.
Yeah, you know, we've been trying to do what we can to take care of them. I think, you know, the Algarve Pro guys are focused on that. I think we're more focused on that than we are getting the peak out of them in qualifying trim. So hopefully that pays off in the race, but we'll see.
All right, thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
Jeez, everyone, we've only been gone for a couple of minutes as well. We can't commentate when we don't have TV pictures. We're still here, don't worry. Right, let's get that muted and get Josh T back in. Hello, JT.
Hello.
Right, we're back.
Still under slow zone, 28 minutes and 45 seconds to go, and that is a very incomplete Le Mans car.
Yeah, that is a new chassis tub on the Hertz Jolter coming through. If I press button 2, you appear on the screen. So, last chance. What do you want to do? Ow. See you for hyperpole. Off you go. Back off for hyperpole.
When's that?
6. Go. I think it's 6. I don't know. 6 or 7? Yeah, that seems to be right about. We only get hour breaks across the whole thing as well. There's 23 hypercars as well. The other one just hasn't gone down through. Yes, Megan's got a headache, so she's not going to be here until the hyperpole later on. There are 23 hypercars.
Hyperpole is 7 p.m.
7 till 8.
Yes, and then it's a 2-hour gap between FP3 and Hyperpole, but 1 hour gap between Hyperpole and FP4.
And FP4 is only an hour then?
Yes.
I'd go for that, because as soon as it's 10 o'clock, I'm out of here. I have places
Same.
to be. Do you know, I've just realised.
So that must
Go
be
on.
the 38 car that they're doing, hypercar.
Do you know what I've just realised as well?
With Hertz Jota.
We could be very cheeky. We just let Indy Radio Le Mans take at least half of the session later on.
No.
Well, actually, it might be good because I've actually got places to be that are very important that might actually, you know, help JBMotorsports later. So, yes, yeah. So it's an important meeting. If I can make that meeting earlier, it could help things as well coming into it. So, yeah, there's always something.
A meeting?
Yep. I'll let you know one thing. It is a different time zone I have to call. So, yeah. I have to call different time zones. Now, that's confusing everybody, isn't it? 26:44
I am
left.
going to stop talking about it so you don't say something that you're not meant to.
That's true. All I can say is if I can make that meeting earlier, it helps me because it's going to last ages. Yellow's been removed at Marshall Point 30. It's going to be about a 2-hour meeting, so if I can get that started earlier, it means I can get some more sleep because I'm trying to get the thing coming in. Ha! Let me tell you something, Brad. No point on that. I'm not doing that again. Let's get into it. So yeah, only 22 hypercars. There's the last hypercars we saw up on Jack's earlier on. That's the 12 Hertz Team Jolter of Will Stevens, the Porsche 963, who had that problem last night in practice. So they haven't got any track running on the new runnings, which is interesting as well. So there's the V-Line Cadillac as well. That's a changeover. So that's Felipe Dragovic changing drivers as Harry Ackert comes across the number 8 turns down the back straight away. Now, what I have later is a production meeting at for somebody who's interested in sponsoring JBMotorsports. So I've got to sort that out. Yeah. basically to take it in for, the gaps between the qualifying sessions and the, on the pre-show stuff and all that. There, to have some ad breaks. So, yeah, trying to get that sorted. It's going to take hours as well. So, all fun. Rio Harriaka comes in. Is Jensen Button in a hypercar? They need Button, Webber, Vettel, and Massa in hypercar.
The 38,
Yeah,
which is currently a tub right now.
Yeah. Thumbs up. I tell you what, though. I like that lineup from Brad suggesting. Webber, Vettel, Button, and Massa. That would be quite a little lineup. In fact, just drop Massa. Massa at the moment in motorsport is the akin to salt in a wound. Nobody wants to work with him at the moment because of that comment he's come in as well by saying about, Van der Linde and in car 20 and car 22 of Garg has got the warning flag for track limits as well. Driver change as well. Oops, and that's the 55 Vista AF Corsa who's run straight off the track as well. Massa is the 2008 world champion. No, he's not. Right, Brad. I don't know if you just say that to be controversial or anything, but he is not the champion. That's not even me saying, Lewis Hamilton fan. No, Felipe Massa is not the 2008 world champion in any way, shape, or means. It was that championship went long and long.
The record books say so.
No, it doesn't. The record books say that Lewis Hamilton is the 2008 world champion, not Felipe Massa.
I know. I'm just trying to be difficult.
Do not be difficult. We can sack you.
Whoa.
We can replace you. Yeah, Renault took away his win in Singapore. Yeah, and Massa got...
Who
hang on.
would do all the Google Sheets, Josh?
That's true. I can do it. And I love that. Brad says, yeah, but Renault took away his win in Singapore. Yeah, fine. That safety car. But it was Massa who left the pit lane and took the fuel rig with him. Massa did that. Not Renault. Massa did that. And also, Hamilton got his win in Spa taken away from him by the FIA and given to Massa. So it's kind of balanced itself, that championship.
Let's try to pick up the speed in S and maybe try 5th gear in Ter.
And
you still have 2 track limits ahead of you.
That's Mola getting on the radio. Let's not also forget that Massa punted Hamilton off at Fuji at the chicane and received no penalty for it. Massa got away with putting Hamilton to the back of the field at Fuji in the penultimate race, the third to last race of the year, and had no penalty for it as well. So, if anything, the FIA did everything to get Massa to win that race and to win that championship, and yet Hamilton still won it. So, yeah, in my book, it was 15 years ago. Let sleeping dogs lie. It was a championship that was up and down, and it ended that way. In that case, then, I'll tell you what, if Felipe Massa wins this case and is crowned 2008 champion 15 or 16 years later, then Lewis Hamilton is the 2021 world champion, if you're going on that, because that safety car was illegal. If we change the rules for Massa in 2008, then you change the rules for 2021 as well. It opens a Pandora's box. You go back in time, you can find a reason for anybody being a different champion. Let's just go, shall we? Okay, so 2023, Max dominated, he's the champion. 2022, Max dominated, he was champion. 21, 22, cost cap, so Max not champion. 21, Hamilton champion because that's safety car. 2020, 2019, pretty much all Hamilton. 2017 or 18, 19, yeah, around about the same. 16, Rosberg had all those problems as well, so did Hamilton. So again, that would probably swing it around. Hamilton blocking Rosberg. He was champion. Race director.
Front tour. Point countdown to the slow zone being removed.
1. Slow zone 6 now removed.
Slow zone is gone, so we're back to full green flag running. But yeah, if you go back in time, you can nitpick anything and say, all right, that championship needs to change, that championship needs to change. How about Villeneuve, and all that lot? Vettel tells now world champion because the 2024 car does 24 races and 2009 is 17. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Honestly, I hate that. Let's say Vanderbilt.
But on the next...
Oh, right, they've gone to ad break. Yeah, and this is why, by the way, we have to go down to Radio Le Mans, because we've got no pictures. So if you want to know what's going on, they're the guys to listen to. So let's head back down to Radio Le Mans. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Now we were a bit unlucky with the slow zone. So we could not do our full program, but in the end it's only free practice. And as I say, we try everything to put the car later tonight on pole position. Hopefully it works. It's not the most important, but in the end it would be a dream, to start here this amazing race from pole position, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think getting pole is more important to the drivers than it is to the team?
In the end, we also fight for a championship. The pole position is also extra point for the championship, and I think, honestly, as a driver, it's a dream, but also I think for every team, they like it. It's for sure a big risk also, because you go maximum to the limit. A small mistake can end up everything, but that's how it is in racing, and it's such a cool place here, so we try it.
First year we've seen GT3s in the big race. Do you think they work well around this circuit?
Yeah, definitely. It's 9 different manufacturers, 23 cars in the class, so it's really cool also for us drivers, because it's high competition with a lot of different manufacturers. Everything is working well. The cars are proven, so we had already 3 races this season. I think it will be really good for the future also.
Great stuff. Thanks, Klaus.
Thank you.
Nick Damon in the pit lane for us. Couple of tweets coming in using the hashtag RLM_24H. A right turn lover said, who is the young headsetted person in the RLM_24H booth?
That'll be me.
That's right, and me. It is actually, come on in, this is Joe Blaisdell. Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you see, you weren't expecting that. You're just sitting in.
Oh, do you have the mic up?
Yeah, I've got the mic up. You are talking to the world. Joe, what have you been doing this week with Bob, first of all?
Well, we came a week today, actually. Arrived at the Le Mans circuit. We've been helping set up the studio, making sure that the antenna's up so all you lovely people can hear the commentators loud and clear, and the pit lane reporters, and yeah, moving on and helping out the social media now.
That is the second part of your job. So you for a couple of years have held out. Actually, 3 years now, isn't it?
Fourth year.
Fourth year?
Fourth year.
Wow.
Minus the COVID.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. One before COVID as well. Yeah, good point. So now you transition onto another set, because everybody does more than one job here at Radio Le Mans. And you've been working with Paul Marquardt on the Insta and the X accounts.
That's it. Yeah, so getting out and about at the circuit, seeing what's happening. We had a trip up to the fan village today, saw some interesting circus acts, if anyone spotted that on Twitter. And yeah, just gearing up towards the race. And the Instagram, if you want to follow it, is Radio Show Limited. And on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, RLM_24H. We'd love to get your comments and any discussion and predictions that you have for the race.
That's Radio Show LTD on Instagram, and either at Radio Le Mans or at RSL_studio. But use that hashtag RLM_24H. Now, this is a big year, because you're not the only Blaisdell here. Because your younger brother is having his first experience of this.
He is. My dad's brought him over for his first taste of Le Mans, so they've actually just arrived. They sent me a picture, camped up, and yeah, I think they're really, really excited and looking forward to get stuck in.
So Ben's your younger brother.
He's 20 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
20 years young.
And why has he not been here before? Because your family is mad on motor racing.
I think my dad just likes his own space when he comes to this event, and now he's of age, he can come and enjoy it in the same way that my dad's set to enjoy it, I think.
And Fran is the father. Hello to Sharon as well, who will be at home. Joe, thanks very much for all your hard work. He's going to stay in the studio for a little bit longer as well.
The usual amount of time.
Press the wrong button. Coming back to it. So yeah, 16 minutes to go. Hopefully we're now commercial free on the rest of this one as well. Go on.
I have good news.
Oh, go on. Someone shot. Go on. What is it?
British Touring Cars.
Yeah.
First round is currently no clashes.
And I will be there regardless.
Second weekend, Indy Road Course, IndyCar. That's the only clash. For
I will
now,
be
and
there.
Of course, NASCAR when it gets added.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You won't be at Snetterton because that's Indy 500 weekend.
Oh, I knew that anyway. Yeah, go on.
And Thruxton, no clash.
Off to
'cause Canada's
Thruxton?
gone to a week later. You can come down here, Josh. If you
Yay!
want.
Straight we go, Thruxton.
Alton Park Island is Jakarta Formula E and Road America IndyCar.
Ooh, okay. Might have to look at that then. See if anyone can take over Formula E. Jess, maybe.
Croft is Hungary F1, F2, F3, and
that's-
Porsche's to be confirmed.
Right, that's cuppers me then.
Knock Hill is nothing.
Not another trip to Scotland. My God, the first one looks so expensive. Go on.
Donington Grand Prix is Netherlands Formula 1 and Nashville, which is the final round of IndyCar.
So I still don't get to go to Donington Grand Prix for the for the touring cars.
Silverstone is Baku Formula 1 and Formula 2, and Brands Hatch has no IndyCar or whatever it was.
So
on,
the final's good
this year, and it's just Singapore Formula 1, which doesn't clash with anything because it's late at night.
Sorry, say that bit again. Brands Hatch clashes with what?
Singapore and Brands don't clash, do they?
Yeah. Quite massively. Because Singapore starts at 1 p.m. UK time and lasts until 3 p.m.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of the wrong. Yeah.
So we
I'm
don't
thinking
get
of the wrong
to
place.
the final. Okay. Okay. Unless I can't do that because it's the longest race of the year. If I leave the commentary box, the longest race of the year, that's just ridiculous. Because that's what Singapore is. Okay. Let's just hope that Singapore gets moved then. Still, it's not too bad. It's a nice little change around.
It won't though.
Well, you never know. Some pandemic, maybe. UK still happened. I was at the touring cars during the pandemic season.
Oh my days.
Never again will I have a test by one of those people in the coats. It was awful. When I tell you, it was awful. My God, Radio Fugo.
Cold medium, fresh, cold medium.
Right, cold medium time.
Right, that's Fugo then having a little bit of a run.
Josh.
Go on.
You may have to get some of these for the broadcast.
What?
Dairy milk buttons twisted.
Twisted? What?
They're so good. They're milk and white together.
Oh, okay. I might get some of those then. Car 22 is going to give a 5-minute stop-go penalty for track limits. 5 minutes. I'll tell you one thing though.
Is that
JT.
Mr. Addison I hear?
It is David Addison, yeah.
I was talking with my dad yesterday. You cannot go anywhere in four-wheel motorsport without hearing the voice of Mr. Addison.
I know. It's really bizarre because I literally... Do you remember? I sat down after race 2, set all the microphone up for the different things to go get some driver interviews on the podium, and then I just walk out. And bear in mind, the race had finished. As soon as the last driver passed me, I made my way straight back onto the tunnel. And by the time I got back into the paddock area, David Addison was walking towards me. And I said to him, wow, you've made that journey quite quick. Because the commentary box is right up the other end of the paddock, up in the media centre. So he managed to get down there and get all the way to the pit stop 71, whatever it is. Full course yellow. Oh, okay. I haven't had this for a while. Full course yellow. Prepare for full course yellow. So the full course yellow is out. Don't know why the timing tower hasn't yet identified that on timing 71. Full course yellow is to remove the debris at Marshall Point 10. So this is why we've got it, but nothing has flashed up on our monitors. The timing tower hasn't yet changed. So let me take a look and see if I can get that working. No. Okay, well, it's not worked on our system here, but the full course yellow is out, and everybody now slows to 60 kilometres per hour. That's our first FCY of the whole weekend. Interesting. And it's reconnected now. There we go. It disconnected from the server, but now we have got a reconnection. And full course yellow is out for the first time. And it flashes FCY, which is full course yellow. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I was talking about David Addison, wasn't I? How on earth, honestly,
Yeah.
he was unbelievable how he quickly got out there. Top bloke as well. Absolutely top bloke. FC will end soon.
I was just trying to find the 93
course yellow in
Peugeot.
less than 15 seconds.
It's AI Eduardo back again.
8, 7, 6, 5,
All right.
4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow removed.
And I think that is the first.
So that's a virtual engineer. Wow. So that's the virtual engineer. So the full course yellow is in, but the system has lost connection to the timing server. So as soon as it reconnects in a few moments' time, we'll have the full course yellow removed and the green flag go back out as well. So that's why we're just having a few issues on the timing. There we go. Look, it's reconnecting now. Green flag goes back out. So yeah, absolutely love David Addison as well. What a broadcaster as well. What a mind he's got. He's and JT, take a look at your timing. 71 has just come into the pit lane.
I don't have it open.
Oh, you're going to miss it. Erwin Bastard has come in as well.
That person. Yeah.
Yes. The one that we're all really much going to be looking forward to saying at 2 a.m. in the morning when we're all delirious, because it is spelled B-A-S-T-A-R-D. Now, in a British language, that would be a swear word if you said it normally, but because he is French, and I have double-checked this, you pronounce it Erwin, so Erwin Bastard. So you've really got to be careful by saying it. So it's Bastard, which is just hilarious to me, because it still is a swear word, but it's the way you pronounce it in French.
Do you know what I'm literally just going to do?
What, call him Erwin?
That, or I'm just going to say the car number and team.
That's true,
I cannot be bothered.
Megan.
Whatever car number and team it is, I haven't looked.
I know Omi. It is, where is it? Car 7, the 777, Distation Racing. So, yeah, Megan is just going to call him Erwin. Omi's very much looking forward to getting a crack at saying his name during the broadcast as well, in the 24 hours to come through. By the way, 182 drivers or something, 183, somewhere along that line, and
86.
180, I thought it was. 186 drivers, 62 cars. We're not going to get through every driver, but we will try and get through every team because that's just how it goes. Car 6 of Van Holt and car 59 of Cottingham is under investigation for full course yellow procedures. Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't car 59 still in the barrier? Or did he get through? Has he got back out then? Let's have a look, sis. Let's have a look on our driver truck, actually. Yeah, James Cottingham has still stopped on the track. So how has he broken full course yellow procedures? So I don't know what the stewards are investigating there, but I'm bamboozled, as to say. And car 66 and car 92 have been giving warning flags as well for track limits, with 7 minutes to go in this opening session. Yeah, maybe Tom could come in later and fill in with alongside you, JT, for the session.
Yeah, let me look at I've got the chart here.
Well, Tom's put it red, but he comes in if he can help out. That's what he's on about, like last time. Oh, Keating's under investigation for his 5th track limits offence. Now, that's usually a stop-go penalty.
Yeah.
To be given. 5,006 subscribers. I can't believe that we're at 5k. It's mind-boggling. We've had 4k subscribers in the space of 14 months. That is quite a lot of growth. Right. They have got. I've just been informed as well that this is going to be a stop-go penalty coming through for Keating. So that might be added to the free practice 4 session later on, or maybe even qualifying, depending how it goes.
It's time to pay respects for Formula 1, MotoGP, and now Formula E.
All owned by Liberty Media, or Liberty Global, as you point out. But Liberty Global is just Liberty Media. There's just different brands of it as well. They're all owned by Liberty. Although somebody tried to suggest to me on Twitter that they parted company. Yeah, they split off into different areas, but Liberty Media is the face of the corporation. Formula 1 is owned by Liberty Global. So is MotoGP now. So is Formula E. But I can't believe the EU are allowing this because of the anti-monopoly clause. So I don't know how they're allowed to own 3 different forms of motorsport. It's like Dorna got in trouble for owning MotoGP and World Superbikes. Let's hear from Bourdais.
Sebastian Bourdais.
Seb, make sure you're not touching the throttle while braking.
And that's been a relatively common plea from the pit wall, not to Bourdais in particular, but...
Yeah, just seeing what's going on. Like, Ferrari's got problems with brake, so they're just adjusting. That's on the 51 with Antonio Pierguidi at the wheel. So he's just moving over a couple more features. So, yeah. Alessandro Pierguidi, I should say. Matteo Caroli in the Lamborghini 19s in there too. What have you got, JT?
What could go wrong? Giovinazzi and Hartley in the same race with Megan.
Oh, Megan already cursed Brendan Hartley yesterday in qualifying. If you know about the 2 Toyotas.
Oh, no.
If you know about the 2 Toyotas, what happened there, Megan was already in the commentary box. It's like she walked in and all hell broke loose. She walked in for the last 5 minutes of qualifying and all hell broke loose. Kobayashi off the track, Hartley not getting a lap in, all that lot. So, yeah, Megan's already done it. 5 minute stop-go penalty for car 23 for track limits. So, presumably that might be applied in qualifying. Here's the 81 TF Sport.
Rearward, so sort of went into T1, was sliding through 1 and then locked the rears sort of away into 2. Still just a bit of an inconsistent balance, but the Porsche car was on the last lap.
That's either...
Yeah, coming into it as well. So, it's...
Oh, Josh.
Yeah.
Please tell me you've seen the new GB3 car.
Yes.
It looks good, doesn't it?
It looks different. I like it.
But it's got DRS.
No, just a slot. I don't know why we give touring cars or GP3. You know why they give them the DRS. I don't know. Touring cars DRS would be quite fun, actually.
Look at why does this look like a seashell?
What?
Why does that look like a seashell?
Seashore? Let's have another look at the GP3 car myself, actually, here as well with the DRS. I saw this earlier on. They've gone for the Formula 1 style front wing, haven't they? Kept it with the Formula 3 aero intake at the side, but that DRS was quite bad. I don't like the fact it has that. But I did know that they wanted to put... I do know that they want to have a look at adding touring cars with DRS as well. Stupidly. How the hell will that work? I don't know. Yeah. They're looking
Please, we don't need DRS in touring car.
Well, they're looking at new... Oh, yellow flag's out. They're looking at new ways to try and, bring in for the new regulation change. Oh, P2 for the number 3 Cadillac of Sebastian Bourdais on a 327.471. So that puts him within 80 thousandths of the number 6 Porsche Penske. Here's the Ferrari, of course.
To do a lap and make sure we solve the issue. I'll let you know. Unfortunately, we will not be able to change the hyperpole, but I don't think it's the biggest issue.
Yeah, the 51 Ferrari just needs to make sure that the car's okay. He's 10th overall in this session. He's completed 31 laps in practice 3, so it's not too bad. 2 minutes to go.
If they've done it with GB3, are we going to get a GB4 announcement?
Yeah, probably. Van der Linde under investigation for his 5th track limits. That'll be a 5 minute stop-go penalty. Probably so for GB4, but maybe no DRS in GB4. Bob Pockrass is very interested as well because that means that he might be getting to cover IndyCar as well.
Oh, yeah. Have we had an announcement about the F3 car in 25?
Not yet, no.
Do you think they'll go for an F2 approach?
I think it works as it is. I wouldn't personally change the Formula 3 car that much.
Are we expecting a regs change for Formula 3?
Yeah, there's one coming. I think they're all changing soon, actually. They are trying to get this 51 Ferrari out. They've got 60 seconds to do so, but the pit lane here is quite low. They've dropped it. Engine fire. It can only go out on electric power in hypercar, remember? And away you go. 3, 2, 1, go. Electric power pulls them away. Hypercar's going to only leave the pit lane with electric power.
If you're out of pit lane, yes, you've only got 40 seconds left, but you'll have 2 laps because you'll have your out lap, and then you'll take the check-in, and then you'll have your in lap.
Yeah, so effectively that's 7 minutes out on the track they can shake the car down on, which is brilliant for the 51 team to make sure it's okay. Ahead of qualifying, which is in 2 hours' time. That's going to be fun. So 7 till 8 is...
You will never guess
What
GB3 have just posted on Twitter.
What? I only looked at it a second ago.
What teams think of the new GB3 car when we've literally just been talking about it?
Ah, well, they're watching us. Checker flags out, by the way. They are listening to us. They all are. Coming to it, but not too bad. There's the checker flag then. Session is concluded here at Le Mans for this practice session. Practice number 3. Qualifying Hyperpole is up next for an hour, and then we have an hour of free practice 4, and then I'm out of here to a production meeting and sponsors. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be hours.
Wait, you've been here for 3 hours?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't realise how long this session was. I mean,
Good job, box, push in.
Van Hol's been told to push in on this box lap. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a long one.
That's the BMW Team WRT number 15 hypercar.
This is why I say that not everybody's looking forward to it. Excuse me. Yawning myself now if you listen to us on radio or in vision. No idea who's picking up our radio coverage anymore. I know so many people do now. We're a bit like we're a bit like syndication. Any channel just picks us up, puts us on. It's quite funny, really. Ferrari fastest right to the last second, a 3:27.283 from the 50 Ferrari with Antonio Fuca at the wheel. He's gone fastest by 1/10 of a second. That's a statement and a half from Ferrari. Wow! Didn't even spot that. He kept below the radar in all the sectors as well. Really nicely done. And then blew it away. He was a 10th off in sector 1. He was down in all the sectors that he needed to be, but he managed to do it. Fantastic. So is Van Horst going to have a chance now to catch up? This is why I'm being told to push, because the session goes on longer because it's such a long lap here. You got the driver tracker, by the way, JT. FIA WEC TV.
No.
FIA WEC TV.
Yeah, but you have to pay for it, don't you?
No. You sign up as on a free account, and you get the live timings, and then you get the driver tracker. That's how I've done it.
When when I registered, it wanted me to pay.
Oh, you just skip it.
Alright.
And you get the driver tracker, as well as the timing screen and access timing 71. So Fuca's ended this one fastest overall. Checker flags coming out. Number 7 Toyota goes 5th, but of course, and number 8 Toyota goes 8th. But neither Toyota will be in hyperpole in 2 hours' time. The number 7 Toyota starting 23rd, the back of the hypercar class. Number 8 Toyota starting 11th. Bourdais going through.
Yeah, I've got it.
See? If you highlight over the cars' names on the actual timing screen, it shows you where they are on the track as well with the numbers. Why they don't just do that normally, I have no idea. But it will come in handy to highlight during the race who's where and who needs to be where.
Yeah.
So, end of the session then, and I believe Cadillac Racing Alex Palou is in that 3rd sector. He's the last person to take the checkered flag in this run of practice, which is good. I need to reply to some messages now. To come
Josh.
Go on.
If you left click all the drivers, it shows them your the number on the driver tracker.
Left click how? Sorry.
If you left click every single driver there is on the timing screen, it puts the number on the thing. I'm just going up and clicking them all.
Oh! Oh, I see. Hello. Oh, my word. Okay, right. Yeah. Oh, hello.
It takes time, but it works.
So, finally. Okay. Well, we've learned that in practice 3. 9 hours into the broadcast.
I just thought, hold on, what will happen if I click multiple of them?
We've learned this 9 hours into the broadcast. Are you kidding me? Oh, that is a absolute... I don't believe that from the WEC team. I mean, they could have just told us about that. Suppose that means we can take off. Yeah, go on.
That's why you have me, and you at least have it for the main race.
There. It only shows you when they're on track, though, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Oh, fab! Oh, yes! We've got our proper driver tracker! Finally! And it's only taken until the end of practice 3.
Oh. Josh.
3, 4, 5, 6, 9 hours! Wow. Go on.
I hate to be that guy, but
What?
every single time you open the driver or you open or refresh it, you have to reselect them all.
Ah, it doesn't take that long. Look, I'm just happy that we've got a driver tracker that's actually going to work.
So 3:11.
This means that we can do more WEC races finally. Oh, brilliant. That's what the trial is for this weekend anyway, actually, to see if people want more WEC on their coverage. Oh, hello. That is one of the P2 cars, though. That's the 183. Who's slow. And we can tell that because it stopped on the driver tracker finally. Yay! Driver tracker works. I love that. Finally. Finally a driver tracker. Oh, ace. Oh, I'm so happy now. Literally so happy. So that's going to come back into the 183. Stopped at the exit of Indianapolis down towards Porsche curves. Yeah. Well, it's been annoying me that we've had this driver tracker, but it's just been dots for the entire time. And I was like, well, what's the point of that? I didn't know if you could select every single one, it would work. Oh, yes.
And that's why I tried.
See, I haven't had the time because I've just left it on as a dot. Brilliant. Yes! 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 And this is why this is going to be the best Le Mans we've done on JBMotorsports. Can't wait for that. Do you know?
Is it because I'm going to be here for most of it? Oh,
that
thanks.
too. Because now you won't fall asleep. Do you know, I am buzzing about that. We've finally got a driver tracker. We have wanted a driver tracker for years, and we've had one for practice, and that was great, but it only showed dots, so we had to sort of work out who was on the circuit. But now we've actually got the numbers in it. Yes! This is the place to be, everybody, as it's reset ready for Hyperpole now. You can see the graphics. So then, JT, what do you make of that practice session? Oh, it's only a 30-minute Hyperpole session, so it's not actually that long. Go on.
Isn't it like, don't they have a group session?
I don't think so. I think it's just one whole hyper session. Oh, hang on.
We'll see what happens.
Don't they split it in two? So it's hypercars go out and then it's LM GT3s go out?
Maybe, because WEC, it is scheduled 6:45 to 8:15 the TV. Wait, I had the schedule.
Well, they've got to do the ceremony as well, the presentation ceremony.
Yeah.
That always takes time.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Let me see if I can try and read fence.
The 183, by the way, is coming down through the Porsche curves. Do you know what I might do, actually, now that we've got this? I might put the names on the track out, because it's a basic track map.
Yes, Josh.
Yeah, go on.
Half an hour Hyperpole session followed by 40-minute presentation.
Right, tomorrow, do you know what I might do for the race? I might put all the numbers of where the track is and everything, and the slow zones and all that lot, on that driver tracker. Because right now it's just a basic zone, so you don't know where it all is. So I might put slow zone 1, slow zone 2, all that lot, then corner names and everything, and then where all the marshal points are. Because I'll have it on the driver map anyway to show where it all is. What we need is like a teleprompter. But all cars are coming to the pit lane as well. Well, thanks, JT. And you've saved our bacon. Ready for the next session. Hyperpole.
And
you go on.
that is me paying you back for not turning up yesterday.
That is. Right. Thanks, JT. We'll be back then in about 2 hours' time for the Hyperpole session here at the 92nd running of the Le Mans 24-hour race as well. It was, in the end, Ferrari who topped the session. What's going to happen later on? Join us for Hyperpole here at Le Mans in 2 hours' time. Take care. Bye-bye.